to be able to step up. Oh no! McGoldie gets a triple, and there's only one man left to tell the tale.
Every battleground remembers the past, but today we choose what comes next. Every path resets, every choice begins again. What matters isn't what came before, but what you become now. This is your chance. This is your moment. Because a single moment can change everything. This is your beginning.
Good morning, good afternoon, and perhaps good evening to everybody. And Tang, what an incredible day it is to be here for the grand finals of not just Europe, but the North American Summer Summit. I'm super excited. We're going to kick off today with maybe the most tried and true rivalry in Predecessor, Nightshade and Venny Vents.
Yeah, that's gonna be a banger matchup we have for you guys today. Everybody knows Nightshade, of course. Venny Vents, they've been on the broadcast yesterday through their marathon through the lower bracket to make it back into the finals where they have been bested beforehand. But yeah, as you said, Blazy, it's gonna be an eventful day for you guys and for us because we not only have Europe, but we also have NA to show you guys later on.
That's right, we'll be checking in with C4 and Suns, which is not a company that makes high explosives. It's two distinct teams, C4 and another team called Sun. That's the NA bracket over there. Sun has, of course, just barely beating out Nightshade, who had an incredible run through the lower bracket finals. I know I would have been excited to see Nightshade take on both sides of the finals here.
Yeah, no, Nightshade making it past Professors was definitely not in my bingo cards, but super happy with how they performed. But Suns, right, they are just a different beast. Probably from the get-go, those two teams were the favorites heading into this tournament. So them making the finals, not the most surprising thing, but the way they got there, super interesting, right? Already facing off against each other in the upper bracket, and C4 were the ones coming out ahead right there.
So it's the grudge match. Sun have got to pull that one back. But on the other side of the pond, looking at EU, another grudge match exactly the same, except Venny Vents have had to come up quite a while, quite a long way through this lower bracket. They got knocked out all the way back in the semifinals in a relatively close 2-0. It does say 2-0 on the scoreboard there, but sometimes you can't always believe the numbers. That was a close set.
It was indeed, yeah. I think Venny Vents has a tendency to lose to Nightshade in very close sets that look very one-sided in retrospect. Because again, 2-0 scoreline, we did see it. They made the comeback though through the lower bracket, didn't lose a single map there. Got 3 back-to-back, a best of 3 wins, of course, to make it back into the finals and now facing off against the top dogs of Europe, the team that has won the last 3 PCCs. And Blazy, I think they are looking for the 4th. Blazy, are you there? Okay. Well, Blazy is template. Oh,
hello.
There you go, Blazy. Were you that shocked that Nightshade is this good at the video game?
I entered the ether, I hacked the system, I cracked the codes to see into the future, and I can tell you all, this set is going to be phenomenal. I've seen it. I was there. I'm back now, and hi.
Well, I mean, if you promise it, Blazy, I'm gonna entertain that thought for sure. But yeah, as we said, Nightshade EU versus Venny Vents, it's going to be a banger matchup. I think all of these player names should be known, of course, especially Nightshade EU, right? Starting from like the star player themselves, having Neft on in this carry role, just such a dominating player, right? Won pretty much everything there's to be won in Europe, and also got a few titles in NA as well, and like heading his team for Nightshade, right? With Import there as well, with people like Penguin, with Menkyu now in the middle role. The only sort of difference from this previous PCC roster is going to be a very strong team to behold. Of course, Bondroid also can't be glossed over right there in the offline.
No, absolutely not. I mean, this roster unchanged near enough for a long time. 3 back-to-back victories of PCC tournaments. This is the dynasty. This is potentially the... I don't even know what the word is for getting 4 in the row. We have a hat trick for 3, but I couldn't even tell you what 4 back-to-back is. Maybe we'll have to come up with a name for it. But on the flip side, Venivents have been here before. This is not their first time in a grand finals. Not their first time in a grand finals up against Nightshade EU. In fact, this time it's a little bit different. They picked up Maya and they picked up Septic going up into this time.
Yeah, I think they are looking really fresh, right? From yesterday, they showed off some of their weaknesses. I think especially like on this dual lane, I was really impressed by Contes and Septic's gameplay. It's just going to be a lot harder now that you're facing off against, you know, this Neft Penguin dual lane. That is going to be the real sort of task that they have to overcome. But overall, yeah, Venivents looking really strong heading into this. M on the off lane, Venom in the jungle, of course, everybody knows him, the name giver of the team. Maya right there in the mid lane, Content Septic being this dual lane that really has to show it all today.
Yeah, it's been a pairing that's really worked out for them so far. Conte and Septic seem like they've got a lot of energy and a lot of synergy in the games that we saw them play yesterday against Hope. And against a different team, Zen, further on down the bracket. You know, this is a duo that has showcased to us that they do have a lot of source. A bit of a different playstyle, though. Septic, not quite as dominant as Neft, doesn't enjoy being that hyper carry. Some, and by some I mean Neft, have even called him a passenger princess.
Oh, well. Well, that might be something that has slipped his tongue sometimes. But yeah, Septic and Conte, like, they just want to keep it even, right? Like, I think that is their game plan coming into this. Because, honestly, the rest of the map, like, they're probably super confident, right? With Maya in the mid lane, usually a very aggressive mid laner looking for those leads in the early game. And if they can just keep this Neft under control, then I think that is their hope of winning this game. The draft has commenced. The Neon banned away. That is a pick that you don't want to give over to Maya. So it's immediately banned away. The Shimby, an obvious ban away by Venivents as well, because Blazy in the semi-finals, Bond was a menace on that character.
No, absolutely. And Shinbi has been so strong this entire tournament with Ion. The amount of poke that you can get off and really scale up that gold quickly is a little bit ludicrous, in all honesty, Tang. We will see the phase taken away as well here. We all expected that, just not allowed to be played. Nightshade, though, have gone straight over to the Adele. This has been a kind of a staple pick for them in this tournament so far.
And they are by far the best team to pick it as well, because it's always a flex. I literally just saw today Bond play the Adele in ranked in the offlane, but other teams, they just can't flex it like that. M on the other side doesn't really love those tanks, so it is one of those staples that Nightshade EU can always pick up early. The Grim Septic had a phenomenal performance yesterday on it, so I really appreciate them picking it first. The Murdoch also being picked up by Maya, going for an aggressive mid laner. Nightshade EU probably gonna respond with the Murdoch Blazy, I'm expecting, and then probably look towards this jungle pool next.
Yeah, if we've got 2 characters that need to be included in a draft, in some place it's Murdoch and it's Grim. They've been everywhere this tournament so far. I really like the Howitzer pickup for Maya. He likes to play these high aggressive pick kind of style composition characters. So love the Howitzer for him. In response though, here comes the Gideon. A tried and true matchup. I mean, we're not really expecting fireworks in this mid lane. It's not something that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, the Gideon chains well with the Adele, right? In the Queen's Garden, you just suck them towards you, and it forces sort of the enemy to be there. The Legion picked up. Blazy, I am as surprised as you are. The Murdoch making it through was expecting that to be picked up. Usually, I know Neff is not the biggest fan of heroes like Legion because they are very ability-based. They're not the hyper carry type picks that we would usually associate with them.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, I'm not sure if you saw the little statistic there, Tang. This is a 0% win rate character. Legion in the, I believe, 4 games that he's been picked up has not won a single match. So we'll have to see if that works out for them. Feng Mao has been drafted across the aisle here. Now, this likely going towards M over there in the offlane. His signature pick, titular, as I taught Philly the word yesterday. Something that, I mean, M, not really a tank kind of offlaner, and you're going to give him anything, Feng Mao is definitely what he wants.
Yeah, some people even call it M Mao, right? Like he is the person you just associate with it. Like if you queue up, if you see enemy team picks Fang, you just hope it's not M in the enemy team. Next bans come around. We're gonna have 2 of them. I think for Nightshade, I'm expecting this Grux to be banned away. Yuri on the side of Benny Vance. Interesting ban away sort of this high mobility jungler. Away from imports, but I think for Nightshade EU, I think it makes sense to ban something like the Grux. We've seen Venom really index hard on this. Instead, the Steel is going to be banned away. That has also been picked up yesterday by Conte in one of those lower bracket semifinals.
And this harkens back to Conte's kind of background as a jungler, right? He loves to play these high aggressive supports to facilitate his team. Steel, definitely something he loves to go back to. So, you know, I don't think this is a bad pickup. It's always good to push Venivens onto things that they aren't necessarily as comfortable on.
Ooh, the Boris ban actually makes a lot of sense as well, yeah. Venom's by far most played champion, I think, in this PCC, and also is it something that Nightshade EU tends to ban away, usually. So actually picking up the Feng Mao over the Boris, I'm not sure if I like this out of Venivens. Yes, the Feng Mao would have probably been banned away, but it does look like Venivens, they're happy. Just going the next one, right? The Rampage being locked in, probably better than the Grux anyways, because it's easier to cancel the Black Hole with a rock, right? Grux is relatively ground-based. That does make a lot of sense. That leaves Nightshade EU for the last 2 picks. Most likely gonna be the jungler. Could also be a bit interesting to see whether they want the Adele in the offlane or whether it's gonna be in the support role.
Yeah, there's been a lot of adaptation here. In fact, me and Philly were watching a scrim the other day. We actually saw Import pick this up for himself as well. Not that I think that's likely. Aurora has been locked in here, so I think we've got a pretty decent idea that that's what Import will be piloting off into that jungle. But it still does leave open those questions, right? Aurora, it's not common, but you could run that over in the offlane. So there is still a lot of puzzle pieces that could be laid out in different arrangements here as we look for this 5th pickup. And will be the Quang.
Yeah, that's interesting. So a lot of magic damage coming out of this Nightshade roster. Honestly, the Legion pick is probably the biggest question mark to me, but overall, this is a team fighting composition, Blazy, right? Look at this, like the Black Hole, the Cryosism on top of the Queen's Garden. This is just a nightmare to walk into for Venivens. They have one last pick to make this entire composition work out. When are they gonna pick supports, Blazy? What is even left open?
I don't know. We could see a Narbash, maybe? That's been relatively popular in North America so far in this tournament. Will be the Richter, which is, of course, a far more classic pick and one that Conte not only enjoys playing, but is very consistent in hitting those hooks, bringing people in and really disrupting that. And against a team composition like what Nightshade have, if they want to lock you in circles and they want to keep you isolated and dump everything, being able to deposition them and put them in places they don't want to be might be the key tool in this tool belt.
I am not sure how this draft will actually go out, Blazy, because the Aurora and the Adele can still be flexed either way. Yes, like the obvious choice would have been the Adele in the support role, but I just know that Bond loves that pick. At the same time, Bond's strength is that he knows every matchup to perfection. Like, this guy has played... Blazy, I'm gonna give you a stat, and I promise you it's correct, even though it's probably not. He's played 8 games of Predecessor each day since Predecessor is alive, on average.
Wow.
Bond is that guy. He just knows every matchup, right? So, like, give him a champion to face off. Like, if he has counter pick, he's gonna use it. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Nightshade EU wanna pilot this draft. Overall, I think if they get into those team fights, many events, they're not gonna have a fun time.
Well, you know what they say, the first game sets the tone for the series, and we're going to have to see how well these two teams can pit themselves up against each other. It's not going to be us, it's going to be Shadow and Philly taking it away for game number 1.
What's up, everybody? Doc, I am incredibly excited for this. We had the pleasure of casting this matchup in the winner bracket semifinal, and we had a feeling it would be these two squaring up again in the grands, and it is Ven's, especially Ven, looking for his very first major title. On the flip side, Nightshade EU looking for the 3P.
Oh yeah, this is, I mean, when it happened the first time, we were like, this should be the grand final, and here we are in the grand final, best of 5, watching these two powerhouse teams going at it, playing this methodical, strategic EU predecessor that you and I personally love more than anything.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, when these two teams first met, it was, 20, 30 minutes in with like 5 kills across the map, but the way these teams utilized every inch of the map across the objectives, across all the lanes of minions, like it was just clinical from both sides. It just came down to Nightshade EU hitting their timings and just, pulling the trigger that much quicker than Ven's.
Absolutely, Doc. And so we know this is going to be an explosive affair for sure. As we take a look at both of the squads, we've got Eternals, we've got Augments, we've got abilities and crests. Everything is going to play a role in this match. We thank TDM, who's our observer for this grand finals. Doc, as we're taking a look at the compositions themselves, I mean, the desk mentioned it, but I want to highlight it even more. Huge amount of team fight for the side of Nightshade EU. They want to go for these objectives. On the flip side, for Ven's, they want to go for picks and burst people down.
Exactly. Nightshade EU's comp is a lot easier to execute in that they have a lot of those big ultimate abilities that are going to layer really nicely around those big objective pits and really set them up for success if they are able to avoid getting picked off by Ven's composition there. And I think the biggest, most noteworthy thing to call out here is not letting M take this game away with that Feng Mao. I think they have a good answer in the form of that Kwang using the Ion Eternal, but it's going to be tough because, again, as the desk said, this is M Mao. Like this is his titular pick. I mean, there is not another player who is as in tune with this hero and its limits as M. So this is really, in my opinion, the X factor that's going to make or break this game 1 here.
If he can find the picks like this Legion, who is very vulnerable. That's going to be his main objective, I feel like, in any of these fights or as he rotates across the map. As we take a look at the mid lane, Doc, we were reviewing the Eternals, and the only one that stood out to us was ManQ running the Demi-Urge. He wants to get his ability haste and health on and get those max stacks to move around the map. We feel like he wants to rotate and he wants to fling spells.
Absolutely. He wants to hit that 1-item timing at least, which is going to be that much more beneficial for him over Meyer, who's going to require really an item and a half, maybe 2 items before he's able to flash farm minion waves and start having the same impact with rotations. But Meyer, he's not really deterred too much. We can see him really succeeding in poking out ManQ here in this mid lane. ManQ, though, does get a good little trade there onto Meyer, but there's still... That's the tried and true reason you pick the Howitzer into the Gideon, right? He just outranges the Gideon in most aspects, and he is going to outpoke him. It's just once the Gideon hits a certain threshold, we are going to be seeing him rotate around that much quicker. So I am going to have my eye on ManQ in this game because it is a bit different than I think the way he normally plays. He usually waits until kind of the mid-game before showing up. So I got my eye on you, ManQ.
That's right, you're our mid lane specialist, Doc, so you definitely take a look at those two heroes, and a lot of times we see the Gideon being this alt-bot kind of character. I don't feel like it's going to be the case, but he will be first-blooded. That's a huge R2000 to the chest.
Sir? What? I don't know what ManQ was doing there. He had no HP, he had a lot of mana, but... Brother just 180 and torn space away there, but that is an unnecessary advantage going the way of Meyer there. We're talking about hitting that first item timing, getting that advantage, and that's going to just set him back that much farther against Meyer. And, if you're a Ven's fan at home, that's a fantastic start for them because Meyer, he is an absolute killer. Once he gets tempo in that mid lane, he does not stop.
Speaking of tempo, we're looking at the duo lane, and it's gonna be the one leading the march, which is Conte. Doc, you were looking at some of the stats. He has not played the Richter so far this tournament. We know he's a skilled jungler, and you can play Richter from the jungler, and that seems to be where his hero pool has lied. Let's see if he can nail some big hooks. That's gonna be a huge tipping point for Veni Vens.
Exactly. We've seen him on the Muriel, and it just hasn't been, it didn't feel right watching him on the Muriel and other enchanters like that. It just feels right when he's on a hero such as the Aurora, such as the Richter, such as the Adele, those ones who are really jungle-esque in nature and really enable his team to be successful. Again, he hasn't played Richter in this tournament so far, but he's more than competent, more than capable, so I'm really excited to see. Is he going to be able to perform at the level that's necessary to be successful in this Grand Finals best of 5 with money on the line?
I think his primary target will be Neft on that Legion, who is very static, right? If you can disposition that person, then they're basically dead. And we'll see if he can land those hooks, and who will peel, right? Will Penguin kind of jump forward with the Queen's Garden? Will they stay back to protect the Legion, who will be pumping the damage later in the game? That will be another question. The other question is Septic. We've seen the Grim run through games, carry matches when they hit that 3-item timing, Doc. How does he stack up against the Legion? I feel like he's got the boxing match.
Yeptic absolutely wins the boxing match every single time. Like, Grim just outboxes every carry in this. And really, in this game, Neft's role is going to be being an alt bot, but he can't go down early because he is his team's only physical damage. And as I say that, Conte being forced to blink out is going to avoid an almost certain death there, but now the timer's ticking. Are they going to be able to capitalize on that blink that's down in the duo lane? But yes, his role here, he's not able to box. He's not going to step up to Septic, especially once Septic gets his first 2 items plus online. So there's kind of an early window for Neft to establish dominance, but I mean it's going to be tough because Grim is just so strong right now.
We'll see if Neft kind of just unleashes all the grenades, the sanction, all the rally point, everything, and then just dies. And he's like, I did my job, guys. But we'll see if they can keep him alive. You see M over there, he was pretty dang low, able to clear his tower, but went for the 3 short sword start with that Demi-Urge Eternal. Just get that extra boost of power. Doc, as we look over at the junglers, Ven on the rampage, right, can be extremely lethal. But I'm looking at Import, who's gone for a very interesting augment here, the Frozen Fury, which gives him the attack speed to help with his clear, but usually you want to go Glacial Charge to help with your gank, so we'll see how he utilizes that adjustment.
I think this is the perfect augment for Import. We've seen him be really successful on more of these assassin-type heroes, like I'm going to say Boris. Boris really does kind of fulfill that role as well as a fighter role, but we saw him in the last time these two teams met, he was just eating up as Yurei. And so this attack speed augment is going to allow him to really clean the minions in the jungle to a similar capacity to what he was doing on those other heroes. So I really like that pickup. Yeah, he loses some Frost on the Glacial Charge, but right out the gate here, we are going to see objectives traded across the map. This is going to be most likely Bondrewd getting the mini prime, which is going to allow him to really put a stamp onto M's Fang Mao, but all the meanwhile, the side of Veni Vens, they're looking at this first Fang of the game, but Penguin and boys, they are here to contest.
Penguin is level 6, so the Queen Garden can be sprung at any moment. Here is the Horse Frost to start it off the Glacial Charge to block off the advancement. A Make It Rain from the heavens will blow up one. Conte will fall, but it looks like the Fangtooth will be picked up for Veni Vens. I think they're okay with that trade.
Yeah, Neft, and Neft comes out of that engagement with a kill. He was able to drop the orbital laser. It was able to burn down Conte there. Overall, fantastic trade across the map in favor of Nightshade EU. Yes, the first Fang does go the way of Veni Vens, so that is a nice little gold injection for their team, as well as the bonus to the buffs, buff durations as they get it. So Ven himself is going to be a little happy with that. But Neft, you can't let Neft get ahead because it's Neft, right? So there's a bit of a timer now. And I'm going to be watching for Conte. If Conte can land a really good Riplash and pull Neft out of position, this could be an opportunity here for the side of Veni Vens to really establish dominance in this duo lane.
With that kill, Neft is able to complete his malady, so he can start getting stacks online. Yeah, that's very scary, right? Where Septic still has to go back. He's got about 1,300 gold, so he can complete his very first item, which could be the Plasma Blade or the Lightning Hawk, whatever it might be. But this trade in the mid lane, Doc, it seems to be going all the way of Meyer. ManQ has not found their footing just yet, but hold that thought. We've got a tussle in the river. A rock right to Impor's face. Now has to expend the Cryoseism, which will lock the Fishman down. He's cold-blooded after all, but the Pounce will get him to safety. That's a big ultimate down for the side of Nightshade EU.
Cryosism is burned, however, a bigger cooldown to note there is that Ven was forced to blink to save his life there. So that's an even larger cooldown going the way in favor of Nightshade here.
Right.
So there's another window now to kind of find this find this Rampage. If you're able to find the Rampage, he doesn't have that get out of jail free card anymore. So overall, you're kind of saying worth it, even though you didn't get any kills out of that. Import not too upset about that, but something to note about that mid lane, there is that item advantage that Meyer has from that first blood he was able to get, but ManQ did in fact hit his first item timing just a little bit earlier with that Azure Core, so he has a little bit more defensive capabilities now as he's looking to build those mana stacks and start getting that magical power online as his mana increases throughout the game.
Just seems to be a damage-heavy build, actually, right? For the side of Nightshade. Yes, they have a big wombo combo of ultimates, but the way that they're building seems to be all-out attack, even Import. Going Prophecy first item, like what the heck? He wants to be swinging that sword in the midst of these fights. He says, I'm not the only one who can carry a game, right? We've got everybody who needs to put in the damage, and so he'll get that seedling for himself just to kind of accelerate his experience and gold. So far, though, M's been under the gun. We kind of expected that in this matchup in the offlane.
This is what the Ion Eternal does. It just puts you ahead, and we've only really seen one real answer to that in the form of the Claw of Hermes Chimera in the offlane. So right now, Bondrewd has a 900 gold lead over M's Feng Mao, but you know, M is still very much in this. M still has the opportunity to join the game and really spiral out of control. He's just waiting to really get comfortable with that second item online. But this Ion Eternal, it just continues. As I look over, it's now at 1,200 gold advantage in favor of Bondrewd. So this Eternal is proving to be quite an issue.
ManQ trying to be an issue in the mid lane, and he will find the shot, taking the hamster out the sky. That's what he was looking for.
That is a single dingle if I ever saw one. And that is a much deserved retribution kill there in favor of ManQ. So he is back on the board. That is a 1-1. We're going to see an orbital laser dropped here, but Conte, he just kind of walks out of it right now.
Yeah, he's a warden. He knows what it takes to be put in the prison, put in cuffs. He's not going to be judged by any orbital sanction there. He'll waddle away. That's another ultimate expended where Doc the Fangtooth is about to arrive in 30 seconds. They need these ultimates like the Black Hole, like the orbital sanction if they want to get something done.
That's a great call out. Yeah, they need to have those abilities ready if they plan to contest. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of messy. They could still posture and kind of, you know, stall time until their cooldowns are ready to go. We can see Neft, he's getting a nice reset out. He knows that the timer's coming up. Penguin as well, he's resetting. They know that the Fangtooth is spawning. They know they need to be ready to at least posture and stand up against Venivens because they cannot give that one away for free, just like they did not give that first Fang away for free. And now we're seeing the Fangtooth has spawned. Conte getting vision down. They're getting ready for this.
There is so much vision for Venivens. There's, what, 4 wards around there? There's not a single entry point that will go unnoticed. How can NSEU sneak into this one? Yeah, everyone's walking over wards. They have no idea what is about to happen to them. Okay, but they might be waiting for it, Doc, because they need those ultimates to be CC'd and chained together. But I like this for the side of Venivens, as it is Ven who's taking up residence outside the pit.
All the boys are taking up residence. All the meanwhile, Bondrewd applying heavy pressure to that off lane. I mean, he's doing his job, right? He's keeping M away from the rest of the engagement because in a lot of situations, you want your offlaner to be here for the second Fang of the game, especially if it secures it for your team. So Bondrewd, he knows that he needs to apply pressure. Pressure. Looks like he's going to reset, and I would not be surprised if he came right out of base and went over to that Fangtooth. Because he has, you know, M is fresh. M can rotate over as well. It's going to be interesting to see.
thought Ven had started the Fangtooth. It looked like he has. It's a little bit of damage on there. He can't linger too long, otherwise that he has got pretty good health regeneration, that Fangtooth, last I checked, and now the teams are gearing up in earnest. All the ultimates in checkmark for the side of Nightshade EU as the Kwang will make a rotation. Let's see how this goes. It starts off with a skewer onto Penguin, who must blink away. Import the Glacial Charge to split the fight. The Black Hole over top and connects onto 4, but Meyer has taken to the skies, and that's a stack for M through the midst of it all. The Fangtooth ignored inside the pit. It's like a full-on Coliseum. The assassin found out and snuffed out on the backside of that. It's a double for the sword-slinging jungler.
Not only is it a double, but that is a stolen Fangtooth in favor of Nightshade EU. They get in, they get out, they get the objective, they take 3 to boot, they take 4 to boot now. M does ultimately fall to Neff. Penguin does die, but Penguin dies to protect his carry. And with that, what is that augment called? With that heavy caliber augment, he's able to just pump damage after damage, shot after shot into M's Feng Mao. And there is no getting away from the increased attack range to the increased punch that this auto attack has on this Legion. And not only do they get their first Fang of the game, but they walk right over to the Mini Prime and they get it right on the Bondrewd. This offlaner is an absolute menace raid boss already, all thanks to this Ion Eternal. But it can't be understated. M did get a kill. He got a kill on the Penguin. So he is slowly getting there. He's stacking. If he can find a couple more kills, he's going to get some boons. He's going to get some of those benefits, some of those increases to his damage that he's able to produce.
And that's what I was looking for in that fight, because we saw that in a few games yesterday where M, he was in the off lane doing what he could, and then as soon as a big fight came out, he was able to get a few kills, and that really helped his snowball going. But Bondrewd, with the second Mini Prime at his back, takes the first Tier 1 tower of the game. I mean, this guy with a 2,000 gold lead, and he wants some more.
He has the Mini Prime, he's got a massive minion wave, and there's no M allies nearby. All the meanwhile, Bondrewd, or Import, he's starting and soloing the Shaper pretty successfully. I mean, Shaper already at half HP since we last saw. Meyer's trying to keep Man-Q out of it, but I don't think Import really cares as long as Meyer's not looking at him. And this is going to be a massive bit of change going away of NSEU, and that is now the Seedlings pushing down all 3 lanes. So this is an opportunity here for the side of Nightshade EU to pick an engagement, should they so choose, in one of the 3 lanes.
That's like the earliest Shaper we've seen in this story. That was like right off a cooldown. It was like Cataclysm, Shaper, Death. And that was the impact that Import has. Just has the timers in his head, knows exactly how long it takes to defeat these monsters of the jungle. And speaking of monsters of the jungle, Doc, the Fishman Ven, I haven't seen too much impact from him, right? He's got to be influencing these lanes, finding these rock engagements that I haven't seen just yet. But speaking of engage, the Penguin is diving in. The Queen's Guard will lock the Warden in place. Goes for a desperate Rip Blast, but that will not connect. A decent trade here will allow Import to sneak in and block off the escape, but the real target is Septic, and he has gone to the sanction. The judge has ordered death.
Import coming in with that sneaky little Glacial Charge. Even though he didn't have the Hoarfrost augment on that ability, the wall is enough to block in Kante, to keep Kante from providing any sort of peel. He knew that Septic's blink was down. Septic gets converged on. There's nothing he can do. He just falls. Kante has to walk away. Walk of shame, essentially. We do see a boulder here on the other side of the map. Does hit Bondrewd. Bondrewd is getting converged on by Meyer, but he should be able to just walk out of this. I don't see a world where he dies here.
He doesn't even care, Doc. The Elifrost, the Golem gift, that's just so much physical armor. He's just like, okay, you're bringing 3 people at me. That's exactly what I want. He is so damn tanky. And now the Magnify completed, Doc, he's just gonna be life stealing like a mad Ion. It's crazy. It's crazy how much gold you can get.
Yeah, I mean, he has now a 3,000 gold lead over M. Mao. That is almost unheard of. And he has 3 items. M. Mao just got his 2nd item. Like, I mean, that is an insane advantage going the way of NSEU right now. The scoreboard doesn't even tell the story of what's happening in the economy across the map here. Emphatically, NSEU very, very far ahead. Almost 8,000 gold going their way over the opposing team of Benny Benz. And right now, third Fang about to spawn. You can see here Nightshade EU, they are getting map control. They are looking to clear some wards with Import's sweeper here, and this is going to be a big fight. This third Fang of the game is going to decide which team gets bonus out of combat movement speed and really gets the momentum heading into this official mid-late game.
Doc, but I'm looking at Venivens. They want to find picks before the fights, right? So how are they doing that? Is it Ven who's maybe trying to catch him out as a rotation? You can see him using the third-person view here to peek around the wall. Because if it does come to that full-on teamfight engagement, NSEU, they've got it in the bag. All the check marks lit up for them. It's just like, Venivens, I need you to get a pick to start this off.
An Import, he is starting that Fangtooth. You know, we watched him solo that Shaper earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think he really cares too much. It's easy for him to just jump off the objective should a fight break out as it is right now.
Certainly is in a tiny corridor. This is where Conte can really work the skewer in prime position. A Make It Rain will start it off, but not find too much. Bondrude, who has taken the Vanguard, will be taken down. The Tiny Titan taking so much damage, and it's Neff to put a bullet through the skull. The Black Hole over the top will vacuum everybody in, but the Queen's Guard is just a little too late, Doc, to get the true damage online. But I think the TKO is here, making a full-on KO. It's a double kill for the carry, and he's looking for more.
Oh, but M looks, he tries to get the Earth Shatter onto Import. Import's able to Glacial Charge and get up and dodge it. All the meanwhile, Neff just cooking and pumping out the damage. Import still not dead, is going to be looking to just try to be useful to his team, try to get another Glacial Charge off, but the call to start the objective is made. I don't think M's going to really do too much about this, and NSEU coming out on top of there because of several key factors in that engagement. Import starts the fight with a Glacial Charge that blocks M away from joining the rest of the fray, and the True Silver Bracelet on Man Q. He gets up, gets a nice Black Hole onto 3 or 4 there, and Conte tries to Riplash him out of the sky, but because of the Azure Core, because of the True Silver shielding, because of the Soul Bearer shielding, he does not go down, gets a full duration Black Hole there, and it's just a disaster move forward from Venivens. NSEU, they've hit their timings, and they don't even care that Bondrude falls early in that engagement because they are just so far ahead economically across the map.
That's a lot of damage from Mankyu.
Yeah.
It was so much that everybody just fell. And then Neft with that extra range on heavy caliber augment, just popping people from the backlines. He was untouchable. We saw his health bar there at the end. He was basically at full. That is just how well they play around their carry. They know they're all a win condition, Doc, but Neft surely is the most win condition on the team. But Septic, is he a problem, Doc? Because that 3-item spike, it's nearing.
It is nearing, however, Neff has 3, almost 4 items now, so I feel like, yeah, Septic, he's going to be pumping. He's going to be doing a lot of damage, just like a Grim does when they get their 3rd item. But Neff is so far ahead, and we talked earlier in this game about how you cannot let Neff get ahead and stay ahead. On top of that, we talked about where does all the damage come from on the side of NSEU, and there's a spectral schematics now online for Bondrude, who has of his 4th item with 4,000 gold lead over M. I mean, he's going to be pumping so much damage to Conte, to Ven with that percentage-based HP. I mean, this is so tough. That 8,000 gold lead is now 11,000 gold lead in favor of NSEU, despite the fact that Bondrude fell in that last Fangtooth engagement. And now we've got the Norb Prime, we've got some vision, teams are going to be posturing, they're looking to establish some sort of control. There's an advantage here in the mid lane in favor of Nightshade EU because they've taken the tier 1 tower, so they've opened that map up effectively. But I think NSEU likely looking for a pick before walking to that Orb Prime.
They've set up their vision line, right? There's a clear delineation across the river where it's like, don't go across here or we'll find it and we'll pick you off. And we will see if anyone is brave enough on Venivens to step into the river, as another Shaper has fallen. The Fury of the Heavens, a nice stasis value there as the Make It Rain, I think more for escape than anything. Bondrude takes the full artillery strike, does not even care. However, he might care that Conte is here to put him in chains and stuck to the ground with the skewer. GTFO will not put him down. What? Does Bondrude get out of this? There is no freaking way.
Bondrewd over here making all of the space.
Wow.
He has baited 3, soon to be 4 heroes into that side. All the meanwhile, Nightshade EU, they clear up the Shaper. They now emphatically have pressure across all 3 lanes, and that is a window there for them to start looking at this Orb Prime. Man Q, I'd be surprised if he didn't pick the arc shot. He could just reset and look to walk over there. But there's now an opportunity here across the map for NSEU. All those resources, and they don't kill Bondrewd. In fact, he goes back and he buys a whole half of an item.
Yeah, 'cause he wants to trade, right? It's the Super Saiyan. The more battles I take, the stronger I get. I think the big thing out of that too, Doc, is how many ultimates were used. The GTFO, the Skewer, the Make It Rain, everything gone by the wayside. So if NSEU wants to take a fight, they certainly will have the resources to do it. The other thing about this gold lead you were mentioning, there's still tier 2 towers. So if they get these down, that's going to be ballooned up to like 18,000, you feel like. So there's still so much standing gold on the map. But Bondrewd, he is the one with his target on his back. They're running right for him, bringing numbers again. Can he escape this time around? A Whiplash, though, will yoink him into the mix of it. Another Make It Rain from the heavens, but dun-da-da-da! The reinforcements have arrived. Penguin, the Imperial Lash to put down the Warden. I've got a better chain than you. The Hoarfrost to lock him into place. The Skewer shielded away. The Iron Rose is stalwart in the mix of the fight. A blink from the backside for Conte. Can he yoink somebody in? Yes! It's the primary target onto Penguin. The lob shot, though, almost finishes the job, and the retreat horns will sound, signaling the end of the fight.
Nightshade EU, though, they are not able to get anything, but they burn a ton of massive cooldowns. They burn blinks. There are 2 blinks burned in that engagement. Conte and Meyer, they burn all of the ultimates, and now, again, this fight is theirs to win. Black Hole.
Oh, that's huge. This is a classic EU special where they start, but they don't finish, and they turn around for the kills, but Septic with his 3-item spike is certainly online. He'll take out his opposite number, but Man Q will find the support. I think they're okay with that trade. The Fish doesn't like the cold. He'll be frozen in place. His real target is Bondrewd once again. Catch me if you can. They're catching Penguin out. They're taking him down. Stack for M.
M already got a stack of the Penguin, so it's not the worst kill. It's not the worst one to give up. We cannot let him kill Man Q, though, because every time he kills a new hero or a different hero, he is going to be getting stronger. And what seemed to be a really great window for NSEU actually turns into an Orb Prime being taken by Venivens right now. I did not see this coming.
This is perfect because they want to play these disjointed fights so they can single out targets, right? When the team is not playing together, they could go for it, but is Import going to go for the steal? He doesn't get it in time, and he'll sacrifice his life, and it's M who secures the prime for the team and gets the kill.
Oh man, Import tried to get it. He missed the hunt by 100 HP, and as a result of that, that is a massive gold swing going back the way of Venivens. Looking across the map here, M still behind Bondrewd, but he's closed that gap just a little bit by a couple thousand gold to Bondrewd, but they have the Orb Prime. They now have the way to get pressure across the map to open up the opportunity for this 4th Fang of the game. Venivens need to deny this from Nightshade EU because that could be the 3rd Fang, which would give a boon to all offense and defense. They cannot give this away. On top of that, Primal Blaze could be game ending.
It could be, and it's Conte who is playing the bodyguard at the pillar. That's great, and a rock will lock down Penguin. Will they take him down? That is the question, and they will. Fang Mao secures the support once again, and that will be a clear signal for them to pick up the Fang Tooth.
Black hole happening onto M here at this intersection point. Septic's able to find Bond as well over in the river. Nightshade EU, they are falling apart at these major objectives, and Venivens, they are just going for the objective. They're just gonna get the 3rd or 4th Fang of the game. It's gonna be their 2nd. It's gonna be a Primal Blaze. There's a small window here. Double bubble buff onto Venivens, and what was NSEU's game here is suddenly Venivens. I mean, they are in control of these engagements. They are finding the perfect picks, doing exactly what their composition wants. Get a pick, get 2 picks, open the door, go get the objective. And that is exactly how they're doing it. They're not picking these big fights. They are just, they are clinical right now across the map.
They have to be, Doc. This is the grand finals, best of 5, all the money on the line. So good, quick turnaround. Still a lead for NSEU in terms of the gold because there's still these tier 1 towers, Doc. So if there's a saving grace for Nightshade, they have some room to give with these tier 1s that still need to be slain. We'll see how an NSEU decides to respond. I feel like they'll take their time before the next objective, maybe reach an item spike, and then go from there. The only problem with the Ion, Doc, is that eventually it does peter out. Eventually you're fully kitted, and you're like, I don't know what to do with all this extra gold. So there is a certain timing here for the side of Nightshade.
Yeah, Bondrewd does have a full item on M still, but, you know, before he had 2 full items. In fact, he had 2.5 items, so that gap has closed. As well, I think the one to really call out is Septic. He, at one point, was about 4,000 gold below Neft. He's now only 1,300 gold below, so he now has a full 4 items, almost a Caustica online, which means he's going to just be absolutely shredding through anybody and everybody on the side of NSEU with wanton disregard. And you can just see how confident Benny Vens are right now with the double bubble buff across the map here. M taking this tier 2 tower, injecting more gold into the side of Benny Vens. This is looking really good if you are a Benny Vens fan.
This is looking really good. Doc, we had a feeling this might go the distance, and it's
Whiplash.
another Whiplash. This one is huge. Penguin caught out again. His wings will be clipped. Septic, the one to do it with the scissors. Another tier 2 tower down, and there he's making full use of this double bubble buff.
Bro, Conte with the Riplashes, the jumping Riplashes, his jumps per minute are out of control right now. But no, he is absolutely, I mean, when we talk about pick comps and we talk about going fishing with a Richter, when your team relies on that to win an engagement, I mean, they are successfully fishing. They are fishing world champions right now. Another!
What? The biggest catch ever, and Meyer will put him 6 feet under. Now Mankiw in desperation will unleash the black hole, but how much damage is it doing? Enough to take down 2, but it's Bondrewd, the only one left alive, and it's for how much longer is the question. Sidesteps the Earth Shatter. Amazing movement from the offlaner. Has he done enough to keep him out of the base?
Oh
no,
my
he
God.
is shot to smithereens.
And that is going to be an ace going the way of Benny Vens off the back of the double bubble buff. The fishing is too strong, and there's nothing Penguin can do here.
Yeah, except for just die a desperate Green's Garden to try to make sure they don't get to the core, but Penguin delaying the inevitable, which will lead to death, and that's another ace, all things, and the core is next in their sights. It is game 1 to Benny Vens.
Oh my God, nobody saw this coming. I mean, based on how the lower bracket finals went, I don't think anybody was expecting Benny Vens to take a game off of Nightshade EU, let alone a game that clinically. That was so clean. They just weathered the storm through the beginning. What looked to be Nightshade's game, by all accounts, was not their game. Benny Vens, they get the picks. They utilized their pick composition perfectly. They opened the windows to those objectives. They took the Orb Prime. They took the 4th Fang of the game, and there was nothing Nightshade could do. They just kept hemorrhaging kill after kill after kill.
And that's where you have to play around your Richter. You have to play discipline. I've been on a lot of teams where it's like, they go in, I'm like, wait for me to get the hook, you know? We don't have to engage. And Benny Vens, they played discipline around those corners, found a good pick, and then found the eliminations. We've got a series on our hands. I know Nightshade will not take that knock lightly, but let's send it back to the desk for the breakdown.
Tang, what did I tell you? I saw the future. I glitched in to that game. I saw the results. And for the first time in PCC history, it is Benny Vens to win even a game. Even one singular game of this series is an incredible milestone for the Benny Vens.
Oh yeah, this is perfect for us as well, because that means, like, if Nightshade is gonna win, we're at least getting 4 games, and if Benny Vens gonna win, we're gonna have a different champion. So for us viewers, it is the best case scenario. And Blazy, I didn't doubt you for a second, right? I saw you have the epiphany beforehand, and I was completely all in. I was like, okay, this has to be a 30-minute banger.
Yeah, thank you. No, many people didn't believe. The whole green room was against me. They told me I was a false prophet. But no, I have wrought beauty. And we can see the direction of this game quite early on. The first blood going the way of Benny Vens. Obviously, Nightshade then started to bring it back. And then we had this moment here with the first Fang Tooth. Walk me through this, Tang.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pause it here for a second because like here it's really interesting to see like how this fight starts off, right? So first of all, Venivans are the ones controlling the pit. Realistically speaking, usually it gives you a bit of an advantage, but this sort of like, I'm gonna pause it in a second again, so don't worry too much, but look at this, right? Actually, I'm gonna let it run for just 1 second, so everything splits up a bit more, but the problem with Venivan contesting the spaces, that look at what heroes we have out of Nightshade EU, right? We have Adele right there, that can always be sort of this front line, right? Just walk into the pit, nobody can really do anything to her, and then we have this combination of the Gideon and the Aurora. They're just able to win every team fight if it happens inside of the pits. And then even they're just trapped inside of here, right? They just know if this comes to a fight, they're gonna win this regardless. So once these rotations come inside of this pit, it's just unwinnable. Neft as well free firing in this one. And I'm behind the scene, Blazy, you can probably attest to that. I was like, okay, game is over. I guess Venivan's lost. But yeah, obviously that's not how it ended up being. But Nightshade, what a strong team fighting there coming out from these first few engagements.
Yeah, and they defied the odds, right? After this, Venivans, they really tightened up. They had a few more moments where we were in these similar positions. We're in a pit for Mini Prime, for Orb Prime, for Future Fangtooth. We're going to try and take this fight. It didn't really work out for them, and it took them a while, but they did finally adjust. Something clicked, and they were able to execute on their comp. And the turning point, the tide, comes off the back of the hero of game number 1 for Venivans, Conte, probably the second best jungler in this game. We can run and have a look at this clip.
That's so mean. That is so mean. But yeah, in this game, we did see import start of the Prime themselves. And now if I pause this here, right, this is a very different scenario because suddenly we have, first of all, the Adele not being there. Import low HP because he was the one tanking the Orb Prime, and this entire fight is not really going in their favor. If we let it run there for a second, it not only sort of swings this team fight, but it also gives M so many shutdowns in this team fights. And if you know M on the Feng Mao, you know that once he gets those physical stack passive stacks, right, he just absolutely transforms into a monster. Dell going down there as well, and the Prime is gonna end up going their way as well eventually in the team fight. So Nightshade just overstepping one time, and Venivan so good at punishing it.
It just feels like this team, this time around, has so much confidence. They've got this energy. They know how they want to play. They are working really well as a team. And, you know, we attested to this at the start, watching them play yesterday through the lower brackets, especially on that duo side. And we were talking quite a bit in the pre-game about the Neft Septic matchup here, about how their playstyles matched. How do you feel that that particular competition went in that game?
Well, I think Nightshade wanted to try something else. I think it's also that the draft was them having this first pick, which usually means you either pick the Grim first, or you just index into this Grim Murdoch matchup that is Grim favored, right? So I think what Nightshade was thinking, okay, we're gonna give them the Grim, and then we are actually gonna do the thing that we accuse the enemy team of doing, which is not interact, right? Play this Adele Legion, play from long range, play just with hard CC, lockdown, and try to get those frags. It did work sometimes, right? They did get a few frags onto Septic. Septic wasn't really able to play the game at all, but it wasn't needed. M was there with the damage, Mea was there, and yeah, they were still able to win it. And Conte had a monster performance in this game, right? So like, by far, in my opinion, the main reason Venivans was able to come back, like his hooks, I think Penguin had zero impact those last few team fights because he was always just hugging the Richter up close, getting hooked in, getting shut down, and yeah, that is just how a game is a one for the Venivans.
And we highlighted that on the draft, right? Yeah, you take away the steal. Sure, that's something that Conte really loves to play, but he is not afraid to play these more traditional, supportive picks. And, well, there is one pick that he is incredibly consistent on. It is that Richter. Yep. You know, it's feast or famine. Whether or not you can hit those hooks, you feel like either the best person in the lobby or, you know, you're irrelevant. And this time around, it certainly wasn't irrelevancy for Conte. Expect to see a lot more from the support player from Venivans. Heading into the draft then for game number 2, what kind of adaptations are we looking to see? Obviously, Nightshade picked up Legion, that 0% win rate staying. Is that something you think they might run back to, or are we done with Legion for now?
I think we're done for sure, because remember, like, they had the first pick. The first pick is probably the worst pick at the moment. So they want to swap over to second pick. That means that they are most likely going to get the Grim, and then they're just going to play stock standard. I think the interesting thing is going to be for Venivans, if they want to index into this Murdoch against the Grim matchup. I think, because as we were saying at the beginning of the first game, I think at the moment, Blazy, the carry lane is just super impactful. I think Blaze is busy with something. I wonder what that could be. What are you doing, Blazy?
You're doing to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just buying all my awesome platinum right now while you're in that I just thought I would take the opportunity to. Where? Oh, that's a great question. I was using our brand new web store that you can use !web store in chat to have access to. And you can go and buy everything to your heart's content wonderfully from the comfort of your own browser.
Is that when I press, when I type !web store, is that the link
!web store? It will come up with the link in the chat right there. You don't even have to go looking for it.
That is crazy. Wait, give me a second. I'm going to be doing something real quick.
You go ahead and get that done for yourself while we wait for the draft for game number 2 to come on through. There it is.
Oh,
Major, you got everything that you needed to get. So quick and easy and efficient.
Wow.
Wow, you don't even have to open the game to pick up everything that you could possibly want. Incredible. You're on holiday, you're on a walk, you're on the beach. Wow, the heat. !web store in chat running back that Neon first ban from Nightshade EU.
I am confused. We have a first pick out of Nightshade EU again. So we're going to just have the run back of the draft. The bans are the same. I think last time we had this the second bans being like the FaZe and the Mako. Probably going to be the same this time around as well. I'm not expecting Venivans to change anything. If this goes through, I'm just expecting Nightshade to not go for the Legion. But apart from that, I think they were pretty happy. The Quang pick did work out for Bond, honestly. Like, he was smurfing until M just got these shutdowns, as we were saying in those replays, right?
Yeah, Mao was not having the impact that I'm sure Venivans were hoping for. It worked out for them in the end, but I think, it works for Venivans. They like having that counter pick. They like having the flexibility. I think some different ordering of things. Nightshade EU definitely done with Legion, so much so, in fact, that Grim locked in bright and early here, leaving me to believe that Murdoch will almost certainly be on the docket for the first few picks from Venivans.
I don't think they need to, right? Because they don't really have to. They can pick it up in the third rotation. I think here Adele makes sense. I think that Boris could also be something that they're looking to pick up. I think there's like a few power picks that are left open. Of course, it does mean that the second rotation of bans means that they can be banned away. The howitzer pickup is interesting to me. Not sure if I like it. This means that they're either going to pick up the Murdoch or something for Venom or M in the second rotation.
I don't hate it, though. I think Maya had a great performance on it. He's certainly comfortable with it. It worked out well for them. Why fix it if it's not broken, right? Nightshade.
That's true.
They're going to use one of their picks as a ban, taking away this steal from Venivans yet again, putting it over instead on Penguin. No complaints there. I think this is a great pick. I love the combination of Steel and Grim. You've got a late game scaling character with someone who's going to be able to protect them well through the early game. Double thumbs up from me.
Yeah, it's a very solid teamfighting comp, right? It's also picking up this Gideon. We know that Manq really loves those sort of like tankier characters, loves those True Silver Bracelet jumps, because he knows he has a really angry Frenchman behind him that is piloting this Grim, that is going to output the damage. This is going to be the thing Mao picked up by M again. He's not afraid, blinding it twice in a row against Bond, seeing that this Quang counterpick by Bonds was not enough to dissuade him from picking it up once again.
But the weirder thing about this, though, is that it lets Murdoch potentially be banned away by Nightshade. It lets them target something away from Venoms. Unless this is a grand trick, and this is Venivans actually giving this over to Ven, and maybe we'll see something else in the jungle. I'm not in the offlane. I'm not sure. Maybe. But this is a pretty ballsy pick from Venoms, and I'm curious to see what their response is going to be when Murdoch inevitably is banned away.
Yeah, I think it should be the Murdoch and the Boris on Nightshade's side, because as you said, Blaze, it just makes sense, like getting rid of those really strong carries. So I think Grim and Murdoch are just on a league on their own. I think for Venivans, it's back to deciding like what is going to be the next pick, because Okay, they could go for the Legion themselves. They've seen Neft have a really strong, at least early game, but in the late game, it just falls off quite a bit, right? Not really this super carry pick that you would want out of your carry player.
Yeah, so, you know, it'll be interesting to see how they adapt. We'll be back to the Rampage probably for Ven here. So, you know, no surprise. Switch around. M isn't going to be piloting something weird and wonderful. Almost certainly this Rampage will be given over. Unless, you know, maybe there's a grand switch around and Adele's in the jungle. Rampage support.
I don't
Mao
think so.
going somewhere else. It will be the Bale locked in for Nightshade. One more pick to round out their comp. They're looking for potentially a jungler, potentially an offlaner.
Yeah, I think they could run it back with the Aurora. Overall, this is a team that is also pretty good at team fighting. It of course depends on what Bond wants to go for. Like if he goes the Kingslayer augment, can also be a very valid sort of team fighting augment. But overall, I'm expecting something a bit more supporty now out of import, right? The Aurora makes a lot of sense. Could also be something like the Grux, something where you can really just take those objectives. Instead, it is going to be the Quang picked up. So Bale most likely in the jungle again. We have the salty run back. Bond happy with his performance last game.
Yeah.
Gonna try it once again. And Blazy, biggest question now for me, what is Septic gonna pick up?
Yeah, that's such a great question, and I can only throw it back to you, right? I mean, there are maybe the
Sparrow,
Wraith, which hasn't been amazing. Sparrow is another option. What do you think? What do you think is going to be working out here against a Steel Grim lane?
I mean, yeah, I mean, Sparrow usually really good against the Grim, but with a Steel, he's just... The Sparrow is just unpickable, right? Because one shield wall is going to be enough to stop him. Honestly, for Septic, I think he just has to cut his losses at this point. Just pick whatever he's most comfortable with. The Revenant picked up.
Okay.
To be honest, probably the best pick he could have gone for, the more I think about this. Like, all of those team fighting ultimates he can dodge out of. The Bale can be kind of ignored if he gets Reckoning on somebody else. So overall, I don't hate it, but Neft is going to have a field day facing off against the Revenant in the lane.
It's a bit of a bumpier draft shaking out from Veni Vens. Nightshade, though, feels like kind of they got everything that they could have wanted. If not, maybe a little bit more. Ure might have been nice, but other than that, I'm not sure Nightshade have any complaints. Now, I'm going to send this back over to the casters for a historic game number 2. Veni Vens found the first one. Can they do it again, or will Nightshade put their foot down and pull us back to 1-1?
Thank you, gents. We certainly have a game on our hands. Doc, we talked in our post-event meeting yesterday about momentum, right? Nightshade EU only played 6 games throughout this tournament. They just got qualified for the bracket, won all their games 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Veni Vens on the other side had to go through the Swiss, go through the lower bracket. They've had 14 games played throughout the tournament. Is that playing a factor here?
Yeah, I mean, Veni Vens, they're clearly not deterred by the things that are happening to them. Nightshade was in control in game 1, and Veni Vens, they just didn't really care. They played their game the way that they wanted to. They didn't bend or break. They just kept doing it. And I think part of that is the fact that they're no strangers to the stress of, you know, being behind in a game or even having congestion across the map in various degrees, because they've been doing it this entire tournament, right? On the flip side, though, on a the potential negative of that is that they've given a lot of data points to Nightshade EU. So I'm curious. You know, obviously Nightshade EU's done their homework, but I'm curious to what capacity have they done that, because they've let Conte have his hero, his number 1 hero through this tournament in the form of that Adele, and they're giving M Mao. Like, they must be so freaking confident in what their game strategy is that they are giving Feng Mao not 1 game, but 2 games in a row. So clearly last game, in Nightshade EU's opinion, must have been a fluke.
And could be, and I think that Vaughn actually held this lane down pretty well, right? Had the gold advantage, had good tower pressure, right? Was really winning the lane. So I think they're okay with that side, as you mentioned, Doc. The big query for me, though, is import on this Bale in the jungle. I've seen him play in a couple of scrims. He was experimenting with Vesh and Yggdrasil and all that good stuff, going for the Demi-Urge this time. But do you think he'll have more impact here as he, travels around the map, maybe goes for the Kingslayer engage?
Yeah, I mean, he did not pick up the Kingslayer Augment, so he's not really looking to make big ultimate plays happen with multiple targets or anything like that. But it's clearly a hero that Import wants to play, that Import feels comfortable playing, and we talk about comfortability and how important that is. As I say that, though, Penguin just getting his metal beaten down over here in this duo lane, you know, for lack of a better term there, just eating everything as he's locked in place, getting shredded by Septic's Hellfire rounds there. And I really like this pick coming out from the side of Venivens with that carry pickup of the Revenant. I think it answers a lot of the questions that, you know, they weren't able to pick up the Murdoch, they weren't able to pick up the Grim, and I think it fits their niche very, very nicely.
And I would imagine Drongo is more of an NA special. If anybody is wondering, they love Drongo as like the third choice there. But it makes sense more for Revenant on Septic. And Tang mentioned this on the desk about comfortability. We've seen Septic pilot this hero a number of times. So we'll see if he can get something done. I'll be looking for him to kind of take Import out of these fights, right? Because Import wants to kind of start them with the Kingslayer, then we'll follow it up with the Black Hole or what have you. If you can eliminate Import from the fight, for at least for a little bit, so you can obscure an objective or find the way into the backlines that you need, I think that will be pretty good for Septic, all things considered.
Exactly. I think that creates a really fantastic window for Venivens to be able to leverage M on that Feng Mao. You take Import out of the equation, that's one beefy frontliner out of the way that allows M to just break into the backlines, get on top of ManQ, get on top of Neft, and really at that point he would only have to deal with Penguin and Bond Druid. So, you know, I think it's a great pick. So I'm really going to be watching Septic to see how does he leverage that Reckoning as these engagements break out, because even last game we saw that they had that kind of pick composition, which they're still leaning into for the most part here. How are they going to leverage that to give themselves favorable numbers advantages in these engagements? Because they're clearly not afraid to take team fights against the team fighting team. So Venivens, there's something to be said about the confidence that they have coming into this set.
Doc, we saw that all day yesterday, just steamrolling through the lower bracket, just confidence being exuded from them left and right. So they're bringing that in. You have to have some level of swagger when you go against the reigning champions, and they've played each other many times, whether it's in tournaments, whether it's scrim. So yeah, these guys are buddies, but there's no love lost when you are in the Sanctuary. But Doc, we have to talk about it, the elephant in the room, the ticking time bomb known as Neft on the Grim. I mean, it feels like Grim has the craziest win percentage of the tournament.
I mean, Neft and Grim is also just terrifying. I mean, Septic and Grim was terrifying, but this is like on a whole different level. I mean, he's the land champion with this hero. I mean, it's again, we saw what happened last game. Septic was down, what, 4,000 gold or something, but as soon as he hit that third item, the game flipped. It flipped just like that because of the damage that he was able to pump out with that. I think it was Imperator third. Yeah. I could be wrong on that, but Neft, again, he's going to hit that timing a little bit quicker, I think, this game than Septic did in the last game. So he is, in fact, the ticking time bomb, and he is a terrifying player to go up against. And I really like that they picked the Grim for him instead of allowing Septic to have it, because clearly Septic, very proficient.
As we see a quick invade here, Ven, we didn't call his name too much, Doc, and we were talking in between matches about the potential of like what impact is he having here. He was able to land a couple rocks here and there, but I think it's more just like this jungle tempo that he can have, right? Let me just farm up, let me just go for these invades, just be a nuisance around the map and always be this kind of lurking presence that's making the Nightshade EU kind of power a touch through these fog walls.
Exactly. He doesn't do anything flashy, at least in game one he didn't, but it was so consistent. He was hitting his boulders when it mattered. He was getting on top of the correct targets, creating that kind of dysregulation of the team engagements, which is what really enabled their pick composition to thrive into the team fight composition that was NSEU in game one. So this game, yeah, we absolutely are looking to see, can we call out Ven's name a little bit more, or is he just going to continue to be kind of that consistent factor? You know, he on top of hitting boulders and getting onto targets, he was also just starting objectives. He was the initiator, if you will, for a lot of those engagements, because it was either you fight us NSEU, or I'm just going to go ahead and take the Spang for free. So make a decision, guys. And that really put NSEU into many situations that they didn't want to be in, especially toward that third and the fourth Fang engagements.
Absolutely. So, just creating some havoc, right? When you split the, make everybody scurry away, then a sheep gets left from the flock, and that's who you target, and you pick them off, and you go from there. So, we'll see if Ven can be that disruptor that he is known for. On the flip side, Doc, we have the Fangtooth has spawned, the Mini Prime about to spawn in a couple of seconds. We'll see if it's a similar trade, right? NSCU, they went for the Mini Prime first last time. Ben's took the Fangtooth, but I think on the Dawn side here, they might prioritize the Fang. They're trying to get priority in the duo lane to do just that.
And things are looking a little bit better for NSCU at this point in the game compared to last game, just because ManQ hasn't given a silly solo bolo to Meyer. I mean, at level 4, that was just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But both mid laners, they're looking to reset. They're looking to get their first major buy off here, it looks like, in preparation for this first Fang engagement or first objective engagement, whatever that might be. Import, though, is on the Mini Prime side of the map. Rampage is backing, so this could be a potential window for him and Bondrude. And no, they're not going to do that. Not quite yet.
I mean, Import loves playing through the Mini Prime and offlane side, and especially how well it worked for them in game number 1, Doc, right? Giving that over to Bondrude, he was just able to run down the lane, get so much tower damage, so much pressure against M, and then he could take these trades where he wants to get the ability damage in with the Ion. So, I don't know, we'll see as the teams kind of converge here. They're waiting for that one item spike, Doc. That's usually the kind of the go button for the teams to engage.
Yeah, we've got the Azure Core online now on ManQ, Combustion online for Howitzer, but then he's looking at ManQ here. The boulder, it's not going to connect. He is able to just torn space away. He should be just fine, and that's us saying Ven's name, right? But it wasn't anything too flashy. Import in the duo lane, though.
That's a name we've said too many times. It's the Queen's Garden unleashed for Conte, mainly just for escape, but I think they'll take that every day of the week.
That's a huge cooldown, though, and that's potentially a window now for Nightshade EU to look at that Fangtooth. They have all their ultimates up except for Bondrude. Bondrude's not going to be there for this engagement, whatever that is. If he is there, I will be surprised. We can see that there is a bit of an emphasis here on keeping ManQ down and out of these engagements, because Conte, he's looking at the mid lane.
And he's unleashing the black hole and immediately rocked out of it. His noggin is seeing stars, but Penguin has bull rushed into the front line. Let me take the hits, says the Steel. Make it rain. Really just more for an escape route during that one. The teams, they clash for a second, Doc, but then the waters, they settle.
They clash for a second, and Import doesn't appear to be done. No, they might be done. He's thinking about going back, thinking about going back in. I mean, there's some indecisiveness here coming out from Nightshade EU there after that kind of messy engagement, but that is a window. There's no mid lane ultimate. There's no support ultimate. There's no... There's an opportunity here to pick some fights, because again, you have all your cooldowns except for Black Hole at this point. So should Nightshade EU want to fight, I think they could take it pretty nicely right now, especially given how strong and healthy Neft and Penguin are.
Well, they shoved that wave pretty quick, so that made me think that they were going to it, but they checked for the vision. They get spot out. Oh man, Doc, it's just like we're teetering on the edge, but let's get more of the secured economy, right? The tower plates are still available for the next few minutes. Let's make sure we get those instead before we play any riskiness around the Fang, because maybe they're scared about game 1. Those last few Fang fights did not go their way.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they learned from their mistakes. There was definitely some poor decision-making toward the latter half of the last game, of Game 1. But by all accounts, this game's looking very similar at this point in the game compared to the last game. There's about a 1,000 gold advantage, most of that in the form of Bondrude and his Ion Eternal here. Otherwise, across the board, it's really equal, which actually is better for Nightshade compared to Game 1, because Meyer didn't get that first blood.
And
not
Bondrude,
yet.
Yeah, not yet, but Bondrude keeping the Fang Mao at bay. Import baiting into the Fangtooth. He says, catch me if you can. The Skull Crusher over the top just to get away there, but the teams, they are surely ready for this now, Doc. We've got the Black Hole available, so maybe this is an opportunity to make sure Ven doesn't get the rock off, because there's no True Silver Bracelet. We'll see how the teams pan out as Bonds continues to dominate in the offlane.
I mean, they've got the Queen's Garden, they've got the Reckoning, they have everything that they need on the side of Venivens to have a successful engagement now. So that window that we talked about has closed, and it's going to come down to Nightshade EU. Can they bait those cooldowns out and disengage and then re-engage, or can they just execute better in a full-on engagement? Penguin being cheeky there with his little shield wall there, just showing himself to keep everybody away from the Fangtooth pit. Since Import, he started it. It's at half HP.
We'll see if they can finish it, Doc. That's always been the question. They're baiting it again. He jumps out of the pit just to try to split off. Yeah, does Ven decide to go for it? He goes for Behemoth form instead. An immediate rock into somebody's back. It will be Import, forced to blink away. The Kingslayer has already been leveraged, Doc, but to no avail. No one has succumbed to the mighty blade of the Bale, and positioning secured once again for Venivens, and it's Penguin who's face checking into the pit, and maybe a decision not well worth it. He has to blink over the other side. Ben will chase after and secure the first blood at the 12-minute mark.
Then with the first blood, Penguin overstepping there. I'm not exactly certain what his thought was there, because Neft and Import were both like clearly disengaging from that that tight corridor there. So that's a huge gold injection there, going the way of Ven, whose name didn't say much in game one, but he got first blood. Gets the first Fang. All the meanwhile, though, Bondrewd, as you said, establishing dominance in this offlane was something we did not see in game one, which was a single dingle on M Mao over here. And as a result of that, this is going to be now the third tower plate going the way of Bondrewd, further accelerating his gold lead. Right now, it's only about 600 gold, but in another 3 seconds, I'll be able to tell you what that gold lead is now. But Nightshade, they're looking at this mini prime because they lost the first Fang.
Oh, but they can't lose any more members. It's Bondrewd, who's incredibly low. Can he take the fight against the fish? It's a rock that goes wide. I thought a black hole was about to open, but it shut immediately thanks to the hands of Meyer. A nice R2000 rocket will take down his counterpart, and it still seems to be falling apart here for NSEU. Venivens on top now with the mini prime.
NSEU, Bondrewd, he was unhealthy after that single dingle against M, and he made the decision to overstay and kind of, go over to that mini prime to try to help Import out, but unfortunately he did almost give his life because of that decision. He does have a 1300 gold lead over M Mao, but M now has that mini prime buff online, so that is 2 objectives now that Venivens have denied from NSEU and put into their own pocket. So Venivens looking very good. They are stemming the bleeding for now. This game it's already a much better situation across the board for Venivens in that their gold disadvantage is only 500 gold at this point, as compared to like 5,000 gold at this point last game.
You just feel like Venivens, they're just have a higher tempo. That was a key word yesterday in a lot of our matches, and they seem to be a step ahead, playing more aggressively, just taking timings that they need, right? They've strategized correctly against this team of Nightshade EU, who's not slow, but they like to play disciplined, right? They work for these certain moments and then have it blow up and boil over. So we'll see if that slow cook will yield a delicious meal for the side of Nightshade EU, especially with that Grim. The refrigerator, he's always holding the goods.
I love a nice slow-cooked meal from my, produce in my refrigerator. But Grim, again, he's that ticking time bomb. Once he hits that 3-item timing, then we're really going to be watching Neft. But for now, he's playing it safe, playing it slow. He has a very, he's basically broken even with Septic at this point, which is acceptable. That's fine, right? But we're really going to be seeing which one of those 2 carries can come online sooner. All the meanwhile, though, Ven, he's starting a little fight over here.
He's had the CC chain in tandem, but it is the bodyguard known as Penguin who will bull rush to the heroic aid of his jungler. But ManQ, okay, I thought he was not in he was an awkward spot, but fortunately Gideon's so very shifty. Unusual for those teams to kind of go after it, but some space created here for Nightshade to take down a tower.
Nightshade, they get a gold injection across the board there. They now have 2 tier 1 towers down. So that is a nice bit of economy going the way of Nightshade EU. But all the meanwhile, they've lost 2 objectives. So overall, pretty even across the board with the exception of this Ion Eternal, which may not be doing too much because Bond is in danger here.
Oh, he's taken the arc shots to the other side of the map, and that's not a place M wants to follow. He sees what's going on over there. So Bond will lose out in that trade, surprisingly, because he's like an item and a half ahead.
He is an item and a half ahead. However, that mini prime Feng Mao cannot be underestimated.
True.
As a result of that arc shot being taken by Bondrewd, then over here in the red side jungle denying this because Bale has to kind of just make a decision. Does he get his 5 camp? Does he protect his tier 1 tower? I really like this coming out from Ven. He gets in, he denies some resources from Import, and Import already having a bit of a struggle in this game. He does have 2 items online, but I just feel like he's been struggling to find his footing in the same way that he had his footing in game 1 as that Aurora, you know, soloing objectives, being able to get away with cheeky plays and cheeky ganks and rotations. We just haven't felt that from the Bale quite yet, because Bale as a hero, not quite as reliable coming out of the jungle.
That's what I was about to say. It's hard to hit all 3 cursed edges or to get your Kingslayer to land, and especially some of the shifty heroes that are on the side of Vens. But Import, literally one of the best to ever do it. Can he lift the team again? That will be the question as the next Fangtooth, the second of the game, has now spawned. Neft is like, all right, this one we've got to take, guys. I'm heading here first.
Bond is going to get here before Feng Mao. He started the rotation. He shoved some minions in that off lane, forcing M to kind of stick back. There are no ultimates for the mid laners, and a fight breaking out as the Vens contest.
Oh my gosh, Penguin doing the Lord's work. Here's so much CC. Goes for the shield slam to knock up the Behemoth, but he will crash down into the earth. The lightning will strike twice, but it is Septic with the Hellfire rounds who will put one through the chest of Penguin and eliminate him from this contest. But Penguin has done everything he needs to create the space and to get the Fang.
But M's Feng Mao is
Oh,
here.
no.
Run, Nightshade, run, because M Mao has arrived. Run.
And they will get out in time, Doc. That's thankful for them. They give up a kill, they get the Fang, but I think that's a trade they're willing to take.
Yeah, they absolutely had to get the objective online. There is no mini prime here to really force the push, so they are able to quickly clear those minions using Man-Q, using the Gideon's power with his, what is that, the Event Horizon Augment, just dealing more damage with his Cosmic Rift ability. So he's going to just be able to flash farm a little bit quicker there. But we can see Meyer, he's got that 3rd item online. He's got that Astral Catalyst. So he is planning to just be flying around shooting missiles the entire game. He's got the True Silver online, so he can't be brought down to the ground as easily. This is really interesting. I feel like we don't see that very often from Howitzer players. Usually it's the Gideons and the Neons and whoever who are leaning into their ultimates. To me, this is just a little bit different. It's not wrong. It's just spicy. I kind of like it.
You have to adapt to each and every game is different, Doc. That's why we love it, right? The replayability factor is so damn high, and I like how they're adapting to the situation. Okay, maybe I do need to be more of a alt bot this time around than a heavy burst mage, whatever it might be. So the more Make It Rains I can unleash, the better for me. But that would mean Penguin's got some jobs to do with those the wall, right? Gotta set those up in the fight, keep his team alive. Neft now, with about 2.5 items, he's reaching that tipping point.
Penguin, as we saw in that second Fang engagement, just doing the Lord's work, just absorbing so much damage, creating so much distance between the rest of his team and the side of Vens. He has that Raiment of Renewal online. He's got the preliminary cursor to Tainted Guard, and we're going to see a Shield Slam onto Septic. He is going to pull the Reckoning to try to get out, and he should be fine.
But he puts it on to Penguin, who's now running for his little life. Import will have to jump away from this one. You want your Steel to play aggressive, but going to the enemy jungle, that is too aggressive and huge from Man-Q, but not big enough. The team gets out alive. They'll leave one straggler known as Vens, who must expend the blink. Hop, skip, and jump out of this, but hold on. The Fisherman is here, known as Bondrewd. He wants to lock the Behemoth in place. This fight is so chaotic, and it will be Penguin who falls again.
He gets hit there with some more missiles, but M. Mal has arrived. Nightshade,
Oh, no.
You guys gotta get away. You can't give him anything. Don't give him a single thing. Boulder looking for a connection here. It is gonna hit Bondrewd as he falls over the cliff. Bondrewd likely to fall here as 4 on top.
Holy smokes, they brought literally the whole entire team to kill this guy, and in the mix of it, Doc, they give it to M. That is a massive stack now for the offlane.
Yeah, that is not a fantastic stack to get. Ideally, that's the one you want to keep for last, because that's going to be the most difficult one. So, M feeling really, really good right now, but all the meanwhile, as that was happening, Man Q, he peels off, he goes to the mid lane, he gets wave priority by shoving those minions in with his spells, and he does a very nice chunk of damage to that tier 1 tower in the mid lane. It has very, like, probably 100 to 200 HP left. So there is a potential opportunity here for Nightshade EU. Should they be able to break this tower down, it could open up the rest of the game for them to allow them a way in, because right now, looking at the scoreboard, it is Veniven's game. Looking at the gold advantage, though, it is Nightshade's game.
Doc, it doesn't get any closer than this. This match has been circled on my calendar since, I don't know, April, when we announced that we were doing the PCC Summer Summit. I had a feeling these two would stack up, and they are certainly not disappointing on this Sunday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Stick around for the entirety of this grand finals. This is, Doc, the Prime is now available. There's a couple wards around it for Venivens. You feel like if they get that one clean, that might be the end of the game.
It could be, but Nightshade, I have a feeling they're going to prioritize the Fangtooth here. They have the vision in that area. I think they're... I don't want to say they would trade it per se, because it's not a primal Fangtooth, so it's not really worth trading. It's also not going to take that long to down the Fangtooth. So they have the numbers right now. I think they could just blast it if they wanted. I feel like Import could just walk over there if you really wanted and just solo it at this point. But now that I say that, Venivens, they've brought Ven, they've brought Conte, they've got some numbers, but it's just going to be a posturing game, just like we saw in Game 1, looking at each other, looking for a way in. Who can get that, who can get that foot in the door to open that? And that might be Venivens, with Neff being forced to blink.
Oh no, he's caught out in the fog wall, and Septic will find his opposite number. But are they out of position? Was it all just a bait? It's Import here taking the Kingslayer to Septic's face, will slam him down. The rest of the reinforcements, now the beefy boys for the side of Venivens, have showed up to the fight, and they are hungry for some kills. The Make It Rain will barrage the backline and deal a butt-ton of damage. That is a massive win for Venivens as they take down the carry.
Venivens, they get the carry, and they are the ones that get to blast their foot in the door, opening it for this third Fang of the game. Second Fang going the way of whichever team is able to secure it. Bondrewd applying some pressure to M. M not super healthy. Penguins going in.
And Nightshade EU not done with this one yet. Import skull crushes into the backline, but nobody is felled from the mighty blade of the Bale. M is chasing down Bondrewd. The Earthshatter will miss, and but he will get the hamstrings cut, his knees decapitated, and M wants more. Import, the next on his bounty checklist, but so Shifty is the best jungler in the world. He gets the cursed edge to stay alive, but not for long. Septic will blast away Penguin. Venivens, immaculate.
Venivens just cleaning everything up here. Neff struggling to get his footing despite that third item
my
timing.
God!
He's gonna get dove under his tier 1 tower, and Venivens M getting 3 kills, a triple kill in that engagement. That's gonna be 3 stacks. They don't even care about the Fangtooth at this point. They are walking right over the Orb Prime. This is the best window that they're gonna have to be able to win this game. They're gonna get this large Orb Prime onto all 5 of their heroes. They lost nobody in that engagement. Nightshade lost 4, and they're going to take this. They're going to clean up mid lane, most likely, clean up the duo lane, get some pressure going across the map, and look to secure the third Fang of the game now that they have a very, very definitive lead in this game.
Feel like the force is with them, and so are the lanes. Talk. The off lane was pushing in, the duo lane was pushing in, so they have momentum on their side. This is, and MOBAs, we know, Vision wins games, because if you can initiate first, especially with this composition that Ven is playing, then you can find your picks, you find your burst damage, and you win the fight. And so they're being patient and waiting for NSU to make a mistake, and they have multiple times before these big hit fights. They're getting picked off, and they're finding losses across the board. It will be the Shaper now that they'll take down, so they can pair that with the Prime buff.
That's a lot of pressure coming out across the map. Feng Mao, he's going to reset. He has to answer the off lane. Import doesn't even care about this Fangtooth, is looking to just deny the blue side of the jungle from Ven, as he knows that they are going to be able to take that third Fang of the game, giving themselves out of combat movement speed. Will they be able to take M out? Kingslayer.
Doc, I think they whiffed their ultimates. The Fury of the Heavens was dodged by the Kingslayer, so Import helping out the Fang Mao, but can he help out his offlaner? Yes, a shutdown here for the side of EU. That is big gold in the pocket.
But it's not over yet.
They don't get the tier 2, Doc, and yes, it's not over yet as Conte has arrived on the scene, and it is sprouting flowers of death across the board, and locked down into place now is Manq, who must blink to get away. He'll take all the health bar damage in the world as long as the rest of his team gets out.
I like that. Manq, fully healthy, he stepped up to kind of bait the attention away from the rest of his teammates. He was able to save Import, save Bondrewd there. They expended a lot of resources and time to take down M, but on the flip side, they did a ton of damage to that tier 2 tower. So yes, they lose the Fang, they've lost the Orb Prime, but right now, Penguin, keeping the minions away from his tier 1 tower here, that's actually crazy valuable right now because Venivens, they have the Orb Prime. By all accounts, they should be cleaning up towers across the map. As I say that, tier 1 in the middle is going to fall, opening the map now, equalizing it for both teams. But this tier 1 tower in the duo lane still stands healthy at this point. So that is still some, like, net worth that has not gone the way of Venivens. And the game, very, very even. Economically across the board, despite what we've seen these last couple minutes from Venivens.
Only about a 700 gold advantage towards Nightshade, but a bulk of that is because Bond is on the island, so it's like skewed a little bit. But Venivens, they feel like they've got some good item timings. A lot of folks on their 3-item or 4-item spike, which is great. It's about this next fight. How will it start off? Will NS make another mistake, or will they force one out of Venivens? It will be the captain who dives on into Manq, but he's got plenty of tools in the kit to get away. He is just pelting rocks. And how do you taste your own medicine there, Ven, as he is just getting a face full of rubble. Curse Blade, though, to put him up and put him down, but there's no follow-up here. Disjointed once again from Nightshade EU.
I'm struggling with Manq's build right now. He doesn't do anything to the tankier sides, the tankier bits, specifically Conte and Ven on the side of Venivens. He has an Azure Core, a True Silver Bracelet, a Combustion, and a Caustica. He doesn't really do percent-based damage, so he's just kind of tickling people when he drops his rocks. It feels kind of tough, and I know that they're leaning on Bond to do a lot of that magical HP percent damage with the schematic or spectral schematics, but I'm just struggling. I don't think Manq should be valuing the black hole. Like, we haven't seen the black hole of all black holes, right? I'm almost wondering if he needs to like change his approach to his role in this game. He needs to be like an artillery mage at this point. He needs to be sitting back and just pumping damage because we just haven't had the impact that I think Nightshade has been looking for out of that ability.
I mean, is Megacosm next on the board? I mean, Meyer has Megacosm on the other side. I feel like that would help with the percent HP. If you can take out Ven, right, just chunk through a lot of his HP. But he's building a lot of magical armor too, right? He's got the Tainted Bastion and the Crystalline Carius, so he's he knows that they'll be slinging for him, and he's not willing to stand tall within the fight. But yeah, curious to see how they play this one out. We haven't seen the full domino effect though, Doc, of like the Shield Slam into Black Hole, into Fury of the Heavens, right? They haven't layered their abilities because they've been so split in a lot of these engagements.
Yeah, and then you also have, on top of that, Kingslayer that just pulls somebody out of all of those combos. It's a little bit of a rough situation. You know, there's not as good of synergy as there is if you pair the Kingslayer with the Orbital Laser. That is a very effective combination because they both work at the same exact time. But both teams posturing both objectives right now. There's vision for both sides around both objectives. I have a feeling it's likely going to be a Fangtooth fight that decides this game, or at least decides the tempo of the next 10 minutes, because if Venivens get the next Fangtooth, not only is that a Primal Blaze and likely an Orb Prime for them, it is also the third Fang. And Nightshade EU, they know this. They can't get that up for free.
Important. He's hovering around as the Fangtooth will spawn in about 15 seconds. This is contentious point. A Basilisk for Import. He knows he needs to start pumping some damage, chunk through some of the armors on the other side. Penguin, we've seen him play bodyguard at that door before, has the Shield Slam available. We'll see how he decides to use it. The Primal Blaze is now right for the taking, Doc. It's gonna be an explosive conclusion on this episode of PCC Summer Summit.
And I'm going to be watching the Reckoning from Septic. So far, his priority target in these team fights has been Penguin. Take the bodyguard out, and you free Neft up to just be melted into the ground. So I'm going to be watching to see what happens with that. You know, if Nightshade starts the objective, I could see Septic pulling Import away to guarantee that Ven's able to secure the objective. But otherwise, I'm expecting Penguin to get taken out so he can't shield slam and just peel for Neft.
I love how Neft is playing here in TDM, our observer, just a beautiful shot. And Neft didn't want to drop into the river because that's a death sentence. So let me get on this high perch, find the high ground, and just pelt in some of the damage. And as they were ebbing and flowing for position, was able to get a couple shots on Ven, and those shots hurt. So he backed up, which gave more position now for the side of Nightshade EU. Can they find a pick off of it? That is the question.
And Bond, all the meanwhile, just creating pressure here in the off lane. M gonna be forced to go back after losing some trades here to Bond, but that means M's gonna be returning fully healthy to these engagements.
They are surely going to need him. Ben doing everything he can to cause disruption and mayhem, but he puts a rock right to the face of Import, who has so much shielding and armor. He's quite all right with it. Teams will high-five and disengage, but the Reckoning has been used on ManQ. Can he get out alive? Yes, the team comes to his aid, and maybe Ven has overextended here. Where is the rest of the Ven's many men's? They are nowhere to be found, and now they are leading the charge in to protect the team captain. They're laying down their lives for the man with the badge. That will be enough. A lot of trades, a lot of HP bars. These fights are all over the place. The shield slam from Penguin, just for escape.
Oh, that feels really bad. Nightshade on the back foot right now, burning cooldown after cooldown, just trying to survive here. And Ven's, all he does is press his ultimate button, becomes a behemoth, and just gets to regenerate all that missing HP. And as a result, it's as if nothing just happened for the side of Ven's. They walk right into this Shaper. They're going to get that map pressure around the map, or around all the lanes, which already are pushing into Nightshade in the mid lane and in that duo lane. Nightshade's probably going to have to respond unless they want to lose some towers for free, but they can't because now Ven's is looking at this Orb Prime. They're looking to get the double bubble buff as well.
They can't give up this positioning. They're going to have to sacrifice that tier 2 tower. That's a tactical trade for the side of Ven's. Fights well timed. Maybe Neft, he's maybe thinking about, okay, it'll be a river bug first, and then he'll head over to the fight. But with no shield slam available, it's really going to be about this black hole from ManQ. Can it do what it needs to? It's a pincer maneuver from the side of Nightshade EU. They're getting this fight started off in earnest, corralling the Ven's back to the fog wall. So far, ManQ finding a way into this fight. Now the black hole rips through and immediately put down. It's a full-on artillery shell for the side of Meyer. And M, he's the really one we've got to look out for. Finds a 2K for himself. Disaster for Nightshade EU. In a blink, you miss it.
Disaster for Nightshade EU, and all off the back of relying on this Gideon to be a black hole machine. It's just not working. He didn't get a Mega Cosm, he got an Astral Catalyst. It doesn't do anything if you're not able to cast your ability or get assists or takedowns or anything like that. So it's just a waste of an item that, yeah, it gives you some mana, but Nightshade Bond, he is going to be in a tight spot, is going to fall from a pincer maneuver from Meyer, and that is emphatically the Orb Prime, unless Import can get some cheeky steal off here, but I don't think that's going to happen, as he cannot give his life away for free. He's going to be forced away, but then make it rain. Going to melt him down, and well, actually, Meyer is going to get the kill.
Oh my goodness. Okay, alt bot, this is like, you know, you're a big fan of Gundam, Doc, and I feel like Mayer might be as well, because he's looking like one with all the firing missiles he is putting out there with the Prime at their back. They're looking for the Prime mold, Doc, and to finish out this game too.
Oh yeah, they are running straight there. They know that somebody from Nightshade has to respond to some sort of pressure. M invading the red buff, denying that from Import, denying that from Nef, is going to use that to just deny more resources as he works his way across the map. There's not really anybody nearby to contest, so this should be the third Fang of the game, going the way of Ven's, as well as the double bubble buff. This could spell disaster for Nightshade. There's nobody nearby. Import is dead. There's no way to contest this objective. And now it's Nightshade on the back foot. Ven's looking so good all the way across the map, now with a 5,000 gold lead everywhere except for with M.
What do they do, Nightshade, right? It's like, you feel like they have to get this big team fight win, but are they even level enough to do it? The gold lead has swung so far in favor of the Ven's. They're now about 5,000 up.
Yeah, this is not a good situation if you are a Nightshade EU fan. Venivens emphatically in control here. I mean, they have closed out their slowly closing out the map here from Nightshade, denying all the possible resources, saying you don't get to take our towers, you don't get to take our inhibitors, you don't get to even take your own jungle camps. Like you get nothing. Good day. Go sit in your base and wait until you lose this game, because Venivens looking so clinical in the way they're utilizing this double bubble buff to just slowly encroach down on Nightshade, forcing a multi-man response, a defense to this inhibitor.
Looks like it's a 4-1 split in terms of the siege. M and Bond will be going at it once again, but with the Mini Prime at his back, they're going to give up the tier 2. They're basically time wasters at this point, Doc, right, as we're in the 36th minute of the game. Now, what is the defense here for the side of Nightshade EU? So many times they've tried to engage. Maybe this is the time they sit back, let the other team come to them, and then find the counterpunch they're looking for. We will see as Venivens starts this one off with a rock to the face of Bond.
With the Reckoning, though, any sort of combo that Nightshade decides to line up, Septic could easily just disjoint whatever flow is happening. So it's a very, very tough defense, especially with the Orb Prime-powered minions and the core. The alarm is now blaring.
The only thing at their back now, Doc, is the Fountain. They've nowhere left to hide, Nightshade EU. They've given up all the space in the world now. Do they have to ride out and meet them before they lose everything? Only one more inhibitor stands. See how this one engages. I'm waiting for Penguin to go for the shield slam. He just doesn't know which target to pick. Does he go for 2 in the middle or 2 on the right side? He's got to go for something, but it will be Big Q. Goes for the black hole first, and Neff immediately assassinated on the other side. No damage, and I feel like the fight is already lost for the side of Nightshade EU. Primary target optimization for the side of Venivens, and Fang Mao M. Magic is the word.
Whoo! Man Q, he gets a black hole off, but Meyer just presses his ultimate button and just blasts missiles into Man Q, melting him down, rendering the black hole bot ineffective. M online, I mean, it's late game, it's M Mal. What do you do against that? He just gets onto the back line for free, and Septic, he just takes the bodyguard out of the equation pretty much every single time. There's nobody to protect Neft in those situations, because I felt like this import pick just did not have the impact. Even in game 1, yes, Nightshade EU lost, but this Aurora, I mean, the Aurora was far more impactful than whatever we saw from this Bale. We never said his name.
No, we didn't. And it was, if we did, it was just like, oh, he's running away. Like, what, he can't do anything, and that's not something that we associate with import, right? It's normally steals and kills and assists and whatnot. But Doc, in that last fight, that Grim disappeared. I didn't even see him there. He was just dead, blink, gone. Doesn't even matter. That is the power of the Guardian known as Fang Mao. Well, Doc, let's send it back to the desk to break this one down.
So, Tang, it's gonna be another 2-0, which, Nightshade are running away.
Expected.
Wait. Hold on a minute. Venivens are up 2 games to 0 in the grand finals of a PCC tournament? What planet am I on right now? Because, whoa!
Well, I mean, honestly, Blazy, I think I'm gonna talk to F6, make sure that's right. I think there must be a mistake in the script somewhere.
Yeah, no? the scores are different. They're on the wrong side. Yes?
No, I think it's correct, Blazy. What?
That's crazy. Insane. And you know what? How can we even blame them when Venivens are out there putting their best feet forward? What a game from them. I mean, where do you even want to start?
Well, let's start from the draft. I think that's a good way to segue into this, because if we look at this, Septic and Conte in this dual lane, like, there was a lot of question marks, right, with this late Revenant pick. They were just feasting on Neft and Penguin. They just had 0 impact this entire game, and Septic really showing off big on this Revenant.
Yeah, it was, we were sitting here thinking, well, what are they going to do? Murdoch not on the table. How are they going to get around this? And it just ended up so well for them. We saw that they, again from game number 1, First Blood goes their way in a pretty dramatic fashion. We can take a look at that clip right now. And it just kind of continued to get better for them as the game went on.
Yeah, we can see it right there, right? The rotation comes in, and it's just such a split fight. It ends up being Septic. Going a bit steep, it doesn't matter. Now, the return comes in. I think Penguin goes a bit too deep right there and just gets caught, right? The CC chain out of Venom, Conte, and then Septic with the follow-up damage. It's just so strong. They're able to get him super low. Venom is going to chase this one out. And that is not only the first blood, that is also the Fangtooth that is going to be able to be secured off that. So, definitely Venivans understanding the assignments, good chain of abilities, and they're just able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, it was a great series of events, and I think Venivans have a much clearer understanding. I say much clearer understanding. In game one, it kind of took them a little bit to execute properly on what their comp was designed to do, right? This time around, it felt like they were really in the driver's seat, not a moment where they took their feet off the gas. And in fact, just 5 minutes after that first blood, we see the second Fangtooth coming, not their way, in fact, was taken in favor of Nightshade, but I mean, well, the fight speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting fight because it's like Venom is unkillable in the front line, right? He and Conte just sort of play distraction while the rest of the team just not able to get anybody down, right? I think in this team fight, we see Septic assassinate Penguin, right? I think they're gonna get another one at the back end of it. But overall, just the strength of the front line, Nightshade EU, they just don't have the damage to go through it, right? Even though they have this Grim picked up, Penguin never dare to peel for Neft. So he is sort of always caught out alone. Of course, you have to mention, right? The Revenant is sort of one of those characters that you can't really easily peel away from, right? And yeah, Penguin is gonna get picked up by Septic there over and over again.
Yeah, and it's the fights, I think, that really told the story of this series, Tang. It felt like there was so back and forth in a few places, but it kind of ran away with it, them being Venivans. And we can see in this counter-engage that happened just before the 20-minute mark. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful setup, and then Venivans walk away with 2 beautiful kills.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause it here for a second, just so we understand the map state, right? At this point, Nightshade is down in kills, but the important thing is, if we were to sort of imagine a tab screen, then we would see Nightshade EU in the driver's seat in terms of gold. But the gold is in Kwang's hands, and he is in no man's land, right? The fight is picking off in the 4 versus 4, and as we said before, Venivans, they just have a front line that can't really be bested in these fights, right? And the second this fight happens, right, we see a bit of an overextension out of Venivans, then an overextension out of Nightshade, and here we see Mankyu blink in with the teleport not connecting onto anybody. And I think at some point, Venivans are like, okay, we actually can fight this. Bond enters the fight, but at this point, M does so as well. I think in a second, we're gonna leave this running for a second. We see sort of Penguin taking a bad damage trade, import as well, really, really low. And then suddenly it's Bond on the wrong side of the map. And even though Nightshade, they're looking for something, Venivans, they just play it so smart. And this is also important. Up to this point, M was just getting bullied in the side lane. He's gonna end up picking up this frag onto Bond with the Earth Shatter. And that is gonna give him this first physical pen stack. And that is gonna be accelerating him, right, quite a bit in those next team fights. So up to this point, M wasn't a factor, and this all changed from here.
Well, and it didn't take him long to really start executing on that. Just roll the clip, 3 kills back-to-back for Feng Mao. Feng M Mao, put some respect on key name. Game number 1, we didn't really see too much of a performance from him, but he really stepped up to the plate here. And, you know, it's a bit of a long clip, but we'll see.
Yeah, M just getting a lot of damage onto Bond, Mea helping him out to get this frag, and we can see from this point onwards, I think M gets 3 more frags in this one, Gravitum used by imports, but I think he does end up falling as well. Blink forward, does still have the dash up in a second, I believe, is gonna pick this up, and now Neft is coming back from the blue side, and he's like, okay, maybe I can find some exit frags, but we were talking about the tankiness coming out of this Venivans roster. Conte can tank this tower forever. M is gonna pick up a triple kill. That is a 4-1 scoreline. That is 3 stacks in his pockets, and the M Mao has come online.
Yeah, it's been the story, you know. Venivans have really impressed me so far in this series with their ability to execute on these compositions. I got to ask you though, what's the downside? Where's Nightshade falling apart? Because this is a team that we have seen so consistent, so strong, barely losing games, let alone sets, and now they're just 1 game away from losing the entire tournament.
Yeah, I think it's like It's hard to say what it is exactly, right? But it's very obvious to see what the problems are in these drafts, right? M loses lane, Bond is totally fine in the offlane, and suddenly M gets those frags and the game is lost, right?
Sure.
So just remove volatility, right? So, like, we know you guys are insane and everything, but we don't need to ego check M on his Feng Mao. I think we're just gonna ban this one away and make sure that we actually don't have volatility like that in the game, right? Then I'm also thinking maybe go something tanky on Bond himself, right? Maybe have sort of the second rock Bond going those Aeon augments, like super far accelerated in terms of the gold values, but in terms of team fighting, the Ion doesn't give him any strength in there, right? So M always able to outplay him in those big team fight situations. And yeah, honestly, lock in as well. Like Nightshade, they've played good. Then events were just better in those 2 games, right? So they just have to mental reset and try again.
Well, it will need to be the reverse sweep from Nightshade if they want to bring this one back. But speaking of sweeping, you know, sometimes you got to clean out your house, you got to get away from it all, you got to leave your PC behind. But there's a deal going on in the Platinum store that you got to get to. But your PC's on the other side of the house. You can't walk all the way there. Now, I can't for the life of me think of any way you'd possibly be able to capitalize on that. Tang, can you think of anything?
You know what? I think I saw something in a stream once.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was !web store or something, Blazy. It is the store.predecessor.com that gives you the ability to buy plats and get a bonus as well, Blazy.
What? And a bonus as well while shopping from the comfort of your very own couch, beach, or aeroplane? I don't know, where can you access the internet from? Wherever you are, grab yourself some platinum with some bonuses. And hope that these games keep on giving, just like the web store, !web store in chat right now. The draft for game number 3, Tang. What major adaptations do we need to see from NSEU? I'm gonna put my claim on down here and say that I don't think that this Gideon is really doing much from NQ.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're not seeing the Renner. I think the read is that the Renner doesn't perform as well into the Howitzer than as the Gideon does, right? Does get bullied a bit, can be knocked out of the alternate ability right there, out of the Renner, right? So think about this, right? Maybe shake it up, pick the Howitzer yourself. We know Mankyu has a really nasty Howitzer himself. Don't give Maya those comfort picks if you don't need to. But I think the biggest takeaway still for me, Blazy, is this offlane. Reduce volatility. We know if the game is even, if the game is slow, Nightshade usually the team that comes out ahead.
Well, we'll be back with more than thoughts in just a moment. We'll be on to the draft for game number 3. Don't go anywhere, folks, because Nightshade EU might just about to be dethroned.
Time to finish what we started. No mercy.
2 games through, and the score is not looking anything like we might have expected. Venivens have come back with a vengeance after being knocked out of the upper bracket semifinals by Nightshade just 1 week ago. Now, after playing their way through the lower brackets and making their way back to the pinnacle, the summit, the top of the mountain, they are just 1 win away from dethroning the champions. Tang, game number 3, just on its way.
Yeah, it's time to shake it up a bit, I think, for Nightshade. We were talking before, and like what they're known for, what these games evolve into, though. I think those scrappy team fights, probably more towards Venivens alley. So I think for Nightshade, we just meant to reset. We've seen them. A lot of their players, right, are veterans. They have done reverse sweeps beforehand. Import comes to mind, of course, as was part of Sin back then when they were part of the LAN, and they were able to come back in a 0-2 scoreline, right, against Mark 10 back in the days. And one rally talk was all it took, and Import got his team on the back, and they ended up winning this one. So they are no slouches at all. They're known for beating the odds, and they're just gonna have to do it one more time in the PCC Summer Summit.
Well, yeah, beating the odds is all, well, I say is all they need to do, but, you know, the odds haven't been stacked against Nightshade for a very long time. This is a team that maybe isn't as used to playing in these situations from behind anymore. And, you know, while I don't doubt the mental resilience of these of any of these players, I think it's going to be a difficult situation playing with your back against a literal wall. Heading into the draft here, let's highlight how NSEU have selected to go back to this first pick now twice even. Instead of maybe trying to switch it up, going for that second pick, trying to get the counter pick at the end, they've decided that first pick is just too valuable.
We also see a difference. The Mako being banned away immediately. Before, we did always see the Neon ban. Maybe it's time to shake it up in the mid lane. Maybe the Howitzer has been a problem before, and maybe we just don't ban any mid laner, let them have the Neon, and we play the Howitzer into it. Could be a lot of changes. Could also be sort of this Feng Mao now banned away. In the first rotation even. That is some adaptation coming out of them.
Well, here's the thing, right? Nightshade have been letting it through, and Venivens have been picking it up third spot both games. So if you don't get rid of it in the first round, all chances are M's going to be like, hey, get me the Feng Mao back again. So it's going to be a big shakeup this time around. Same bans from Vens. They don't want FaZe. They don't want Shinbi. And Nightshade have decided that Adele is priority numero uno, and they'll take her off the board.
Neon, Grim. Those are the 2 picks that Venivens probably wants. Like, it leaves them still in a good spot, but I am surprised. The Howitzer run back, like, I like it. Mayor was performing super well on it, but he's known as the Neon guy.
I think maybe it stands as something for Venivens, right? This pick has worked out well for them. There's the Grim as predicted. Maybe they're comfortable. They're in a bit of a groove. They don't need to shake things up all that much, right? If it's working for them, why change? Maybe this will prompt Nightshade to go back to the Gideon, but I think almost certainly the Neon will come out.
Yeah, it's just Mankyu is not really the biggest Neon player, so it might still be something a bit slower in the mid lane. Could still be the Neon, doesn't like the matchup though. Rampage now being picked away from Ben. We've seen what he can do. Now it's gonna be Import's turn to use that character. So a lot of changes compared to before, and I'm not expecting a mid lane pick to come in here.
Yeah.
Because realistically, like, you can still leave it up for later.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure about this one,
back.
Tang. It's Legion. He's back. And yes, we've taken away Rampage from Ven, but this character still has a big old goose egg in the win rate slot. This is a big gamble from Nightshade EU. This is the game they have to show up on. And, like, Murdoch is open currently? What's going on? Wukong will be picked up here third slot for Venivens. What is happening in this draft?
So this is probably gonna be a pick towards M in the offlane. Like, he has a really mean Wukong as well. Don't put anything past that. But the Legion pickup, Blazy, is a bit out of left field. I think the read is that the Murdoch just loses against the Grim, so we're playing the Neon and the Legion, and this time there's not going to be this Feng Mao on the enemy team, right? So maybe the idea is, okay, this time Neft is going to have a bit more safety. We have the Adele, we have the Rampage, we have a really solid front line now ourselves, so we can play this sort of area denial carry instead. Boris being banned away. Same with the Morigesh. Morigesh has been known a bit of a counter to the Wukong at times as well. Bit of an untraditional ban though coming in. Greystone also banned away from Bond.
Yeah, and that's been a consistent takeaway. Venivens do not want to see him on this character, and that's absolutely fine. We've taken Boris as well away from Ven, so it looks like a lot of these picks, these bans, might be targeted towards putting Venoms onto a character he's a little less comfortable on. Yurei taken away by Nightshade this time around. Historically, Vens have taken that one in their first pick, first ban of the second half. So the back end of this draft is going to be pretty much unknown to us. Neon still in the board. I think will be an easy pickup for Nightshade. The steal finally allowed for Conte, though. He'll be more than happy with that.
Yeah, I think the steal makes sense, right? I think it's pretty much the same draft on like the dual lane, right, as the first game. The Quang being picked up again. Bond really loves the character apparently because we are running it back once again until it works. Makes sense, sure. I was expecting something like the Grux maybe, because I think that is a pick that Van could be looking for as well. We've seen it yesterday in those semifinals being picked up over and over again. Last pick, mid lane. Is it going to be this Gideon again, Blazy? We were talking about it. Didn't love it too much. Didn't have the most impact. Different team composition, different mid laner. Bellica, a lot more aggression out of ManQ.
That's so interesting. So you're telling me Nightshade just left Neon open. They were like, we don't want to play it. Maybe you do. Maybe they went into the draft thinking they might want Neon and then decided against it. This is, I mean, unprecedented. Neon, I think, has close to 100% pick and ban rate. I'll get back to you on that one. But talk to me about this Bellica Howitzer matchup.
I think both teams are surprised nobody actually values the Neon. Like, the longer this set goes on, the better this actually is for Nightshade, because suddenly this Neon priority, they can just shift completely and they have one extra ban is how you can think about it. Granted, they need to win this one. I think they have a really good draft though so far. They have this Rampage and the Bellica that has been in the game since day one. The stun into deletion has always worked, will always work as long as you connect on those hard CCs. And somebody that we've not seen either yesterday or today on the European scene is the Saris, making his entrance most likely on Ven right there in the jungle. I'm not expecting that to be in the offlane. So gonna be a lot of a different game. Doesn't really have the best abilities to chain with as well, Blazy. So I'm not sure if I love it, but at least you can use the Unstoppable on the Colosseum to dodge out on some of these skill shots.
Yeah, and you know, I think Zaris just brings a lot to a lot of drafts, right? Sure, you don't have a lot of circles to dump into the Colosseum. You don't have that easy execute kind of thing, but there's always going to be value in, hey, I've got an ability that stops the enemies from leaving this zone. Not only does it make it easier to hit them, it makes it easier to isolate targets and win these team fights, which, I mean, Venivens have been doing a really great job of already, but this is a very different flavor of comp from Vens than we've seen in the first two games. I mean, obviously, the big difference is Feng Mao not being available here, but I think the Zaris is really a interesting spice to throw into the mix.
Well, you say the Saras, but honestly, like, the Saras is sort of like the fighter archetype. Like, I don't think like he's gonna have the biggest impact, but Blazy, what I'm looking at is this Wukong. He's gonna get bullied by Quang so hard in the offlane again, but well, he can manage it, right? And the goal is you survive the laning phase, you can just eat up the entire jungle, you can get those CS leads, and then you can scale really, really well into the late game. And then again, make Neft's life and nightmare, right? Just be on the Legion whenever the fight kicks off, be super elusive, and I think that is going to be the game plan coming out of VV. I like Nightshade's draft though overall, Blazy. I think if they can claw it back, then it's got to be off the back of this game.
Well, we'll have to see if Venivens can make history and dethrone the reigning three-time champions, or if Nightshade can dig in their heels and fight back. It's going to be Dr. Shadow and Philly taking it away.
I was about to say Dr. Philly. I was like, okay, all right, I got my degree in predecessor finally. It's been long enough. But Doc, if the stakes weren't high enough, this could be the final game to seal it all, get that $7,000 in your pocket. Benny Benz, one more game to close it out. NSU, one more game to send us forward.
Veni Vens, with the momentum that we talked about in game one, coming out of the lower bracket, just feeling so good here in this best of 5 series. They've found their tempo. They had a rough game one in the very beginning, and since then it has been nothing but gas for the boys on Veni Vens. And Nightshade, yeah, they have a huge, incredibly steep hill ahead of them that they're going to have to try to claw their way up if they want to remain in this best of 5 and maintain their title for the 4th time in a row.
Doc, we were talking about during the break, you're like, they need to make adjustments to the mid lane, to the jungle for NSEU. Have they done enough in this draft?
I'm hoping so. If you're a Nightshade EU fan, you're hoping that they did. I am optimistic, right? Nightshade import. He is on the Rampage this time. You know, last game, we hardly ever said his name because he was on the Bale. He didn't really have an impact in that game. It was very tough for him to find his footing because he didn't have a consistent way to come out of the jungle, to have an impact on lanes when he was making rotations. He didn't really touch objectives by himself. He didn't really do much of anything. And then we had the man Q problem. We had the Gideon, right? he kept building to be a black hole bot, and he never got to actually do black holes. So I'm hoping that by just simply the mere virtue of picking this Bellica, he's going to be forced to play differently. So I'm hoping that he doesn't do some like True Silver, Azure Core, Astral Catalyst sort of deal. I will lose my mind if he does. I'm not expecting that though. I'm expecting him to play a more traditional mid lane with a bit higher tempo coming out of him, because he's more than capable of doing that. And I need him to have an impact if they want to have a shot at taking this to a game 4.
And I like this matchup too, because the Neural Disruptor can pluck the Howitzer from the sky. So if Meyer decides to go for that ult build again, like he did in game 2, maybe it won't have as much impact, right? Maybe one salvo gets off, or maybe none before he's blasted by the Neural Disruptor. So this mid lane, very contentious, and as Tank stated on the desk, that Seismic Assault is going to lead the charge in a lot of these engagements for the CC chain. If we take a look over at the off lane, M has just been basically unders in tower every game this series, Doc, but I think he's all right with that.
And M doesn't even care, man. He weathers the storm that is Bondrude, and then he shows up when it matters, and he just picks off the back line, and his team profits from it. That's the same storyline that we saw in games 1 and 2. Bondrude, 3K ahead, 4K ahead in gold. It didn't matter. He just showed up, and he got the kills. It's just the M special on that M Unky, if you will. M Unky. But what I want to talk about here is Ven. This is a hero you have been just crying for. You've wanted more of it since the beginning, since day 1 of PCC Summer Summit, and now we're finally getting a Zarus game. Why? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the full ult combo, right? If you go Coliseum, Shield Slam, and then make it rain, that's big. And if people are in that tight circle, the Force Stomp from M, right, can do a lot of damage if he comes up from on high. So I actually kind of like the way they can control space here. Or if they do need to peel for Septic, right, if people are running him down, maybe use Coliseum so that there's a barricade and he can run away as the refrigerator. So there are definitely some utility uses for the side of Ven, and this is also one of his favorite characters. He loves playing the Zarus. It's very high tempo, aggressive sort of jungler, and he wants to make it a statement victory in this game 3.
Yeah, I fully agree with everything you said. I mean, it is a Ven pick. Ven loves the Rampage, as we saw the last 2 games. He loves the Zarus, these classic frontline fighters who are going to be able to have high impact in these games. Again, we didn't call Ven's name out too much in game 1. In game 2, though, he turned it up a notch, and we were just calling his name left and right. The boulders, the objectives, the kills. The man got the first blood, for God's sake. So we're going to be watching him. He has a Lotus. He has to get active, though. I mean, as is the nature of Zarus, right? When Coliseum's off cooldown, you want to find a primary target and get that drop so you can start getting your stacks, and Lotus just takes that to the next level by giving other additional benefits to takedowns. In the mid lane, Zarus is actually looking here at Man Q.
Oh, but that's a boop from Mayer that kind of maybe saves ManQ at this instant. Import here to shepherd his mid laner to safety, using his full-on body to take every single bit of damage. But this is where ManQ is, I was about to say, is incredibly vulnerable, but as the tides may have turned not in favor of the jungler this time, Ven is the one who now has to run for his life. The pounce is dodged quickly from a blink, and that is a mid lane gank gone wrong.
That's a mid lane gank gone wrong or right if you're a Nightshade EU
True.
fan. Import, he shows up to provide a little extra backup there for his buddy ManQ in the mid lane. The vulnerability, though, that is a Belica, though, without a blink for 5 minutes, as well as a Zarus now, who does not have a blink for about 5 minutes. So could be a window here for somebody to capitalize on something, and most likely ManQ going to be the victim there, being the inherent immobile Belica that she is. But again, Seismic Assault could be that saving grace, could be that X factor that makes or breaks how NSEU comes into this game or out of this game.
Doc, we were looking at the Eternals and everything right before this, and the Bottomless Vial has been picked up by ManQ, which means he wants to get every river bug so he can get more magical power, get more potion charges, and stay in the lane. I think he's gotten a few at least so far, and that's why he didn't back up after that gank, because there was a river bug right for the taking. You can see him shielded right there right now with the green one. But he is a vulnerable target, as well as Neft. I think those are the two ones that Ven will be trying to dive on the most. It's about, can Penguin peel enough? He's been caught out of position a few times in this series. He has to play defensively, I feel like, in this.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reckoning to take Penguin out of these engagements, so Neft at least will maintain his bodyguard, as you keep calling Penguin. He'll at least be able to be here and be present for the majority of these engagements. I think Neft also has a bit more of a safety net there with those grenades, being able to bonk the Zarus off of him, potentially out of a Colosseum, if he aims it just right. So I think there is opportunity for Neft to be a bit safer, but ManQ is the one that worries me. That guy is just going to get jumped on off cooldown through the duration of this game. I would be surprised if he's not the primary target in most of these situations.
And Ven, he's level 6 now, Doc, and he's lurking on that left side of your screen. Thank you, TDM, our observer, once again for this series. And ManQ is unsuspecting. There's no ward on that side of the river, but he might be wise enough to know Ven was lurking around. He will clear it up and maybe go for the seedling, but it'll be congestion over this river bug on the other side. ManQ is baited into another fight. There is the Colosseum dropped upon his head, and he is dropped 6 feet deep. First blood to Benny Benz.
And there's no blink online. He was not able to even secure the river bug there, and that is the detriment to this Bottomless Vial minor blessing on the Ion Eternal that ManQ has opted for. Is it essentially telegraphs your first 20 minutes of gameplay, or 15, 18 minutes, or whatever the timer is right now of gameplay to the opposing team. So Benny Benz, I'm expecting Zarus there on a 3-minute basis. Like, he's just constantly going to be there. Because why wouldn't you? You know that ManQ is going to be getting river bugs off cooldown. You know that that's his game plan. That's what he wants to do. You know he's going to greet it to try to get those stacks. So I really like that coming out from Benny Benz. They get on top of him and they punish the lack of blink as well. So ManQ already fallen behind just a little bit here, just losing a little bit of tempo there. He's like, monetarily, he's not super far behind at all, but that is a nice gold injection going the way of Benny Benz.
Willing to take this trade every day of the week with that Ion still at his back. That's more gold into his pocket. He was down at first in that fight, but the Gracelia really helping him there with some of that regeneration. On the flip side, though, this dual lane, Doc, we haven't talked too much about it. Both of these carries looking to reach their item timing. Septic, emphatic on the eliminations in Game 1. We'll see if he can repeat that performance here in Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we haven't really talked too much about these duo lanes is across the last 2 games, as well as this game, they're really just kind of, I don't want to say minding their own business, but they're both so proficient that neither team really has an advantage one way or the other. They're really just so strategic and patient with each other and within the context of their own duo lane, where it just does come down to that third item timing around the 15-20 minute mark. So there's not much else to really hype up unless there's some sort of spicy jungle ganking. Speaking of which, there could be over here at the seedling.
Import prowling through what is his jungle, right? He's the king of it on that behemoth. He's taking a quick visit over here, potentially to the dual lane, but finds no visitors. I think he'll clear his blue side dock. There's a couple of camps up, but he'll be lingering around as the vision has been dropped for this Fangtooth. Every person on the board has their ultimates online. I don't know, I mean, how do you lock people into this orbital laser? You feel like you've got to get that CC chain to work, and the laser they can then find the eliminations after. Boulder,
Seismic Assault, Queen's Garden, Tether, you have your options to allow Neff's orbital laser to be successful. You have to, if you're Venivens, you have to bait that ability out before engaging in a pit, in or around the pit. You have to bait it, walk away, disengage, step away, and then re-engage. Otherwise, Neff very well could cut them down very easily. I do want to call out, though, he does not have the Scorched Earth augment, so it's not as big of a threat as we've traditionally seen, but that also means you can't just ignore him once he puts down the orbital laser, because he's going to be pumping auto attacks.
He's looking to pump auto attacks right now into the body of Septic. The Queen's Garden expended, but knocked up and down is the side of Penguin off the shield slam. The orbital laser is chasing, run Septic, and he will be able to do just that, but space created now to get some plates here in the duo.
Yeah, this is going to be a gold injection for Neft. It's also a potential window. They know that Septic's unhealthy. At this point in the game, that's enough to create a window for Import to walk onto this first Fang of the game. Because Septic is so unhealthy, it's extremely risky for him to step up. I think he still could, but there's going to be a brawl here starting in the mid lane. Boulder not connecting. They're
turning over to Ven. They know that he's going to look to dive onto Manq or Neff, so they have to eliminate him first in these engagements. I love the positioning. Dropping down, but flying up is Meyer, unleashing the rockets from the heavens once more. Manq gets hit with a majority of them, but it's Import now in the tiny Titan form who will bite the ankles from the Reptilian Gladiator and eliminate him in this fight. But there's more coming as the mid laners have exchanged blows, and Meyer finding his opposite number yet again. A bull rush now from Conte to shepherd the rest of the team to safety. Enough space created, you think, for the Fang?
Yeah, the jungler on Venivens is down. This is a free seedling. I don't know if they're healthy enough to feel confident stepping into the Fangtooth with Ven spawning right now. Yeah. And yeah, the call to disengage, reset is going to be made here. I like this, though. That's disciplined. It's the correct play because Nightshade have made some overstaying calls through the duration of this set so far. So I like that they are saying, okay, we got the enemy jungler, but we don't need to force the issue too much too fast. Let's keep our lead. Let's build it slowly, incrementally. I like that. I like that decision. Manq, though, he does fall to Meyer on the back end of that engagement. So Manq already not having a great game so far. So I'm going to be watching him to see. He's hit the seismic assaults, though, and that's really his main role here. But Ven, just ganking him off cooldown here is going to find him with the Spear of Nier. No stack, though, going the way of Colosseum, but that is going to be a Lotus stack. That's the detriment of the Bellica.
We didn't really talk about how Ven is running that Lotus, and so he wants to be involved in these kills, and he is now as he's waddled over to the duo lane to find himself a double. Penguin will be skewered and roasted on the Spear of Nier. Then, oh, the Zarus I was waiting for, Doc, and he is not disappointed. He's off to a great start stacking that Lotus.
Yeah, that's 2 Lotus stacks, 0 Colosseum stacks so far. Oh, well, actually, no, 1 Colosseum stack so far on Manq earlier on, but 3 Lotus stacks. So that's, Ven definitely getting the tempo advantage right now, and Manq showing us why this Bellica is a very risky mid laner. I mean, anytime Blink is off cooldown, you just jump at her. You just run, kill, murder. Manq cannot do anything about that unless he has team members nearby. But Venivens, they get those 2 kills across the map in the mid lane and the duo lane, and they also make the disciplined decision to not run immediately into the first Fangtooth pit. They're in no rush. They got a small advantage. They were not fully healthy. They did not feel like they had the full capacity to take that objective in a convincing manner, so they decided to step back, reset, and just play again for another window.
Doc, in the grand finals, you have to be absolutely sure of every move you make, especially if you're Nightshade EU, where this could be your final game. Evans with some room to breathe, but still, they know the opponent they're up against, and any gap in the armor will be found out and destroyed. But these two have been going at it the entire game. They're taking their towers, they're taking each other's health bars. It's just a huge fight. And you know, Doc, that's lore accurate because the Monkey King, if you're not aware, actually sent Kwong to this magical sword, which teleported him away from his home planet, and Kwong's trying to get back. So he's trying to get his get back for sure in the offlane.
I'm glad you know the lore, because apparently I don't know anything about the lore, so thank you for educating me on that. Bondrewd, though, I mean, he has 1,200 gold lead over top of M, but as we've seen the last 2 games, M doesn't really care. M's still going to exist. He's still going to keep Bondrewd away from joining the rest of his team. He's still going to be a menace, and this Ion kind of like advantage that we've seen hasn't really turned into too much. So I'm hoping Bondrewd can find a way to get out of that lane, because his team might need him here, as this Fang is still up and Vens are still looking for a door in.
The tether is so instrumental, right? It can yoink M from the sky, it can yoink Meyer from the sky. There's a lot of utility as well with that lockdown. And there it is. He was trying to get away there with the Cloud Walk, and that one will be off cooldown. The Cycle Breaker, though, will stop him. He is smushed. Blink must be utilized the Cloud Walk now into the sky, but no tether because it has already been used. M and Bond, man, what an exchange it has been. As we move over to the jungle, Import wants to find a kill.
Well, he wants to get something. He's going to run into that Meyer there. Meyer fully healthy, not really deterred by this rampage at this point in the game. Import going to resume his jungling. And right now, Vens, they have the vision advantage around that first Fang. It's 16 minutes in, and neither team has gotten the first Fang of the game. This is almost unheard of in EU predecessor. Like, usually, I would be so surprised if the average was, like, later than 10 minutes or something. This is so abnormal, but it's a testament to the patience of both teams here in terms of, you know, not overstepping, not being egregious with their confidence or their cockiness, but both teams still holding their ground. Neft, though, has a slight disadvantage here to Septic's Grim, and Grim is at a 2, starting his 3rd item. So this is a time bomb waiting to happen at this point.
Yeah, very scary indeed. And not taking the Fangtooth, Doc, has a compounding effect, because that means the Primal won't be on the board for a good chunk of time. You feel like closer to the 30-minute mark, you know, because it takes time to respawn with each and every iteration. And that could be a win con for one of these teams, right? They get the final primal flame, and then they go and run down the base. So it does have that kind of effect. But I've also have not seen the mini prime contested at all. Usually, we mentioned time and time again how that's an Import thing to do, and make it rain is Meyer once again stasis value this time. And Import is here to help his mid laner to safety once again. He feels like he has to just be around here the whole time to protect his Bellica.
I mean, Bellica still doesn't have Blink, so you have to protect her, otherwise she will get farmed off cooldown. Meyer just already doing so much damage. Has a True Silver, now has an Overseer. I don't remember if he bought Overseer in the last game, but he's doing a different iteration of being this just missile machine from the mid lane. So he's already doing so much damage with the bonuses. And it looks like he just finished it at Caustica as well with that recent back. So Homeboy is going to be shredding, but knowing that Meyer went back to base to reset could be the window here for Nightshade.
And they'll start it off with a rock to Kante, but the Imperial Lash will go wide. Ben, however, is lingering around. Maybe considering the Shaper, maybe taking us to camp. That's a bulk of experience. And that window opened and shut, Doc, immediately. And still the Fang yet to be uncontested. However, these two fully in conflict. The blood feud continues.
Oh, man. And Kante, I mean, that finding Kante there in that river, that's exactly what you don't want. That's the one hero you don't want to find, because it's a steal support. But Kante, being a former jungler, he knows where he should be and when. So I really, really like that he steps up. He shows face there and kind of baits out the presence from Import. All the meanwhile, though, M actually claims first blood for the towers across the map here by taking this tier 1 in the off lane. He's going to get collapsed on by 3. Are they going to be able to kill him? No, he actually takes one with him. He finds Bond and sends him back.
The pounce, it whiffs, but the punch to the face will not. And Ben will sacrifice his life to create the space, recognizing Import's on the other side of the map. That is a clear checkered flag to the finish line known as Fang.
There is no real way for Nightshade EU to contest this. I think I saw it might have just been grenades getting lobbed in there from Neft. But I love that from Benny Vens. The second Import showed on that offlane side, the second his little picture icon on the minimap appeared, they said, go, 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 go. This is our window, and I love that from them. They are so patient, so disciplined, and the activity, and there might be a fight here in the duo lane.
Blink from Penguin must be utilized to get to safety, but he's running right back into the fray. The Imperial Lash will be stopped in its tracks as Conte goes for the shield slam, and he bull rushes through a lot of vines there. That's a big amount of true damage. Import, what are you doing, man? He's diving under the tower. Another rock to the face. This time, it's Septic who is the target. One more shot will do it. Import making some impact in this one. The orbital laser will clean it up. Finally, some kills the way of NSEU.
Conte blinks into the orbital laser. The orbital laser is tossed behind the tier 1 tower to cut off the retreat. Conte leads up onto the cliff and then blinks 180 degrees behind directly into the laser beam from the satellite in orbit and just instantly vaporized. So this is a much welcome injection lead into the side of Nightshade EU. Their duo lane now effectively online, but they're still hemorrhaging around the map right now. M taking a lot from this Ion Bondrude, who has a pretty large gold lead, but M is not deterred by that. He really genuinely does not care. He's got a Mutilator, he's got a Mind Razor, he's ready to fight this big beefy Bondrude boy.
And he's been winning, Doc, because he has been slowly getting every single skirmish, taking the health bars down, and he's taking the tier 1 tower down. And if you can keep Bondrude in this offlane for the entirety of the match, you feel like Benny Vens have a great 4-person squad they can roll around with, where they need Bond on the other side. And I love this. It's a different mentality for M. I can still fight, still do the damage, but I'm here to create map pressure through my split push.
Yeah, and with that map pressure, he is forcing Bondrude to keep that advantage away from the rest of his team, which, again, in this series, that's been the benefit. Usually when teams have an Ion advantage in that offlane, they transition that, or they translate that back into other objectives, into winning team fights. But M, such a threat in that offlane, it doesn't even matter. He's keeping them away. He's keeping Bondrude from joining the rest of his fray, and in fact, just forcing him to stay over there, because there's still a tier 1 tower. Until that tier 1 tower falls, I don't think Bondrude's going to feel comfortable leaving the offlane. And yeah, we can see both teams posturing around the Fangtooth pit, but Fang still has about 3 minutes left until it spawns. Well, 2 minutes. Sorry, I can't math. Math good. But Meyer might be in danger here.
He's using the Make It Rain just to fly back in front and say, hey, Ben, you take the Vanguard instead. But Import now feels like he wants to fight in Tiny Titan form, putting out the damage. That's another good trade here for NSEU. We were talking about throughout the series that they need to be the ones to move first. They feel like they've been playing too reactively, too patiently. I want to see some aggression from them. And with the back of the Rampage, they feel like they can do just that. But there's nothing for them to take, really. I guess they can go for this 2-camp invade, which is a good bulk of experience. But as long as Ben isn't getting anything, I think they're all right with that.
Well, they took 2 blinks there. They took Meyer's blink and Ben's blink, so that is 2 major cooldowns that are down, and they knew that they kind of reset or were forced back defensively there, so that's a window for them. They get the Shaper, they inject some gold into their economy, they get pressure out in the form of seedlings across the 3 maps. It looks like they're going to reset for Nightshade EU. I'm expecting them to go toward that mini prime, maybe get some map control over there, maybe help Bondrude take that tier 1 tower. Because Fangtooth, it does spawn, though, in about a minute, so maybe I'll hold my breath on that theory crafting. Maybe they're just going to look to reset. I'm not very good at math, so please forgive me.
Yeah, I feel like the Prime would be really risky, right? Because if you take that, then you know you're trading the Fang on the other side. I think they might look for a pick first, right? Maybe onto Septic, who's kind of found themselves in the jungle right now. Import was looking at him, but didn't feel like he had the opportunity to go for it. This is a more typical EU match, right? We're gonna wait for that one explosive moment, Doc, where then that's basically the game. So folks, hold on to your seats, because as soon as these teams reach that critical mass, it's gonna be blink and you miss it.
I mean, speaking of critical mass, Meyer, now with 1,500 gold over ManQ, he has finalized his O crown. So O crown, Caustica, Overseer on top of the True Silver Bracelet. I mean, they cannot ignore Meyer's howitzer, because this guy is going to be doing so much damage from the sky. I'm actually surprised there's not a Gravitum on the side of Nightshade EU to bring him down to the ground, because that is just insane amounts of damage at this point in the game. It's only 24 minutes in, and he has 4 full items. But speaking of gold lead, looking at the benefits across the map, Nightshade EU, though, they are ahead across the other 4 roles. Bondrude, 2,000 gold ahead. Import, 900 gold ahead. And the duo lane, about 200 gold total ahead. Now, second Fang of the game. It's starting.
And they want to be ahead in the Fang Tooths, but this one will at least put them level. They will start it, but will not finish it. The check marks lit up for all members, except for Bondrude, who's now made a rotation over here. We'll see if the heavens will bless him with an elimination. He'll be fighting Ven to keep him out of the backline. Penguin doing his bodyguard duties. Make sure nobody can step into the pit, but he has taken a ton of damage. That's a great wall to block the rock initiation. ManQ, a normal disruptor to the skies. They're trying to disrupt the path of Meyer, but it will not work. Septic has been left untouched, and he is going brrr down the lanes, and he finds himself a double kill. Everything going the way of Benny Benz.
The refrigerator just getting to play the game for free right now, and Neft whiffing the orbital laser. I think he tossed it and it hit some geometry on the wall. It lands nowhere near any enemies. Doesn't get to do what orbital laser likes to do, and that's kill. As a result of that, they lose Penguin, they lose Bondrude, and they lose the second Fang of the game. So now Benny Venz slowly ramping up here with the increase to out-of-combat speed, momentum, mobility. They're going to be looking to really control the map vision over by that Orb Prime now, because this is the next objective on the map. Potentially a Shaper in through 30 seconds. Probably Shaper into the Orb Prime, but as we can see, Steel is there. Conte's there to get vision down, to start controlling this area, because that is the focus, emphatically.
And that's fortunate to have the Shaper also on that side of the map, so
Yeah.
you can roll both of those objectives and really put the screws into the other team, no matter who gets it. Doc, I'm worried now for Nightshade EU, because Benny Venz, I feel like, just scale better into this game. All characters just feel like they get better and better, where NSEU may have missed their timings.
Yeah, they definitely do scale. There's 2 Lotuses, one on the Zarus, one on the Howitzer. So every engagement, every takedown is making them stronger. As I say that, there's potentially... Nope, just kidding. I thought Ven was starting a little spicy something, but on the side of Nightshade EU, they have Ion. Ion, you have to win early. You have to leverage those item advantages to get early advances to your leads, and they're just not succeeding in finding anything right now. So the longer this game goes, in fact, the more it does in fact favor Benny Venz. So if you're a Nightshade EU fan, you should be sweating right now.
I know we've got a number of them in the chat. Will the reigning champions be dethroned? Will we be sent to a game 4? It's still everything hanging in the balance. Bondrude trying to find these trades onto M, but he is now on the losing end of them.
Oh yeah, Bondrude has been stuck under this tower. I feel like when he's not rotating and dying immediately for these objectives, he's just forced under his tower. M's monkey, or the M-unky, has just been doing so much from the offlane, somehow just outpacing this Cresselia Kwong in the offlane, somehow managing just far more prio at all times of the game and being able to just rotate everywhere. You can even see him finding import in the jungle, but I think ManQ might be in danger here as it's starting to rain on him.
Oh yes, no umbrella. The spear will pierce his heart, and Ben will find the oh-so-vulnerable mid laner. At least ManQ keeps his blink this time, Doc, so once he reses in 60 seconds, he'll be able to re-engage in the fight, but potentially could be more towers, I think, is going to be the goal here for Benny Venz, so they can open up even more of the map. But we see the duo lane, they're kind of creeping over to the Prime, and Septic's got the damage to do this.
I mean, that kill on demand Q gave 2 more Lotus stacks the way of Venivens. Yeah. So they're joining this fight stronger than they left the last fight. They are all very healthy. Septic does so much damage right now, and he just needs Conte in there. All the meanwhile, M pulling everybody away, just baiting them, baiting their existence, and that is going to be an Orb Prime going the way of Venivens. So now the call to retreat should be made as Venivens is converging.
PSA, don't chase the monkey. That's exactly what he wants you to do. And he's doing it for a reason, to create space across the map. But it's like, at this point, Doc, level 18, about 4.5 items, how do you ignore him? You can't, because he has just so much physical penetration and damage with the build that he's going with. So now it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. In a rock in a hard place is Nightshade EU.
Yeah, Nightshade EU, they're struggling to find anything in this, and it's going to be at least 3 more minutes until they're able to find anything, because this Orb Prime is going to make it very, very difficult. Fangtooth spawning in 45 seconds now. We can see the call to reset, re-engage, get healthy from Venivens is made. Septic almost spotted out by Penguin there, almost getting caught, but probably wasn't going to turn into anything because nobody was with Penguin there in that situation. All that to say, this is Venivens' game to lose right now. The scoreboard does not indicate how serious this is. It is a 2,000 gold lead in favor of Venivens. They have 2 Fangteeth. The next Fangtooth is going to be their 3rd if they're able to get it. Nightshade cannot give that up for free, but with the Orb Prime and with the Shaper now, this is going to be very, very difficult for Nightshade to contest any future objectives.
Venivens setting themselves for what could be a game-winning play now with more passive pressure in the lanes. They're getting that tier 2 tower down, Doc, and they want even more. It could start with Bond Druid, but he's looking to flip the script onto Ven as the Gladiator is fighting for their lives. Can they corral them into a right position, or will M just backdoor the whole entire thing? They need to send somebody back to protect this inhibitor, or it's about to go down.
Yeah, they missed their window to have a numbers up advantage, and that inhibitor just, what happened to that? That thing didn't even take a hit, it just vanished.
Holy crap.
What?
Uh-oh, Doc. The alarms are certainly blaring here as Penguin forced to retreat. Just a few shots from Septic will send him to the fountain, and now another one. The siege wasn't even slow, Doc, as they are knocking on the door. The final fight in desperation. Can Nightshade EU hang on with the core? The primary target, only a few more percents left. Can he be the savior in this? No! It will be Venivens, the champions of Europe.
Holy shit, Venivens did it. They took it. They took this series 3-0, and in such a convincing manner. Oh my god. I woke up today not expecting what I just witnessed, but we've witnessed it. Venivens, they break the curse. They take the championship, and they do it off the back of, teamwork and friendship at the end of the day.
It's always teamwork and friendship. Oh my word. Ven, his first major title. We're so proud of you, buddy. Well deserved. And Doc, I think it had to be that lower bracket momentum run. They just had way more games and figured out a clear strategy, where Nightshade EU, they were still kind of putting the pieces together. But man, what a series. And that was a perfect execution of European gameplay. Let's just build up and explode.
Clinical. Every single time someone stepped up, someone stepped back, there was something to be had, something to be gained, and Venivens just that much more disciplined. It just, Nightshade EU, they struggled to find their footing in the jungle and in the mid lane, and Meyer, he came with his game day face, his best of 5 face. This guy cooking things I've not seen in forever. He was the standout in my personal opinion. I'm not giving him MVP because I don't have that right, but he was doing so much. It's been so long since I've seen a howitzer have the impact in a game as Meyer had in this best of 5 today. So that was just so fun to watch. And congratulations to Venivens again for breaking the curse.
Well deserved. MVP